What's up, Turtle Otter, Natalie, Pie-Eyed Piper? What's up? What's up? So it is my first time here at UCLA today. Obviously, I had to like look for parking. I had to make sure I knew where the restrooms were. I had to use one already. So yeah, got that out of the way. So good to know for next time. It should be a smoother setup for me, I guess. You know, knowing exactly where to park and then knowing where the restroom is. And to be honest, I think this is gonna be the busiest area in the school, or one of the busiest area. I didn't tour the whole school because this school is huge. It's even bigger than UCR, and UCR is pretty big already. I would say UCLA is bigger than UCR. Again, I could be wrong, but just based on, you know, how it looks and how I had to drive around, because I've actually gone all around the UCR campus, so I'm familiar with it. But UCLA, it's obviously my first time, and yeah, by the looks of it, it's a way bigger school. For it being summer, also, it's pretty packed. You know, like for it being summer, I mean, compared to the other schools, it is pretty packed. But obviously, that's a good thing, you know. So I'll show you guys the setup. Now there is two spots. So there's this spot I'm gonna show you. Let me see. All right, so this is where I'm at. I'm under a tree, of course. You know, we need the shade, especially for summer. But I am next to the famous Bruin statue. So, you know, this is, a lot of people take pictures with it, you know. So yeah, this is a pretty busy area for sure. And that's where I'm at right there. You know, off to the side, basically. You know, kind of didn't want to be too off to the side because then people won't see the table. You know, it's kind of like hidden right there a little bit. You know, but I mean, it is what it is. But this is the location. I was gonna post up over there in that shade over there, but I didn't want to be too close to the UCLA store because then, you know, they might tell me something. They might think I'm selling something, or, you know, I don't know. So I wanted to stay away from them, you know, at least. So the other spot I was thinking of, it's that way, which is actually pretty crowded. Maybe next time I'll go over there. As you guys can see, like, that's a public street out there. So that's like the entrance to the school. And as you can see, look how many people are walking out there. It's like a gang of people are walking out there. So maybe next time I'll set up out there. But for now, it's gonna have to be here. You know, I already set up and everything. But yeah, maybe I should have set up outside, to be honest, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, so hopefully we get some conversations. You know, obviously that's the goal at the end of the day. So, gonna have like a little scar right here. Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh my god, wait, really? I am not smarter, but I just want to try it for fun.
Yeah, definitely for fun. That's why I'm doing this. All right, perfect. So there are two multiple choice questions, very easy.
Okay.
You know? So if you guys trust your common sense, you guys will get it easy.
Oh no, good, my common sense.
All right, so we'll start with the first one. So I have 3 box trucks here, and inside of the box truck, there's a bowling ball hanging with a string, right? So out of these 3 box trucks, one is at rest, one is accelerating forward, and one is accelerating in reverse. So out of these 3, which one is at rest? Yes. How do you know that one's at rest?
Because it's not moving.
Exactly. It's pretty easy, right? Which one's accelerating forward? Yes. And how do you know that one's accelerating forward?
Because the bowling ball would be pushed
It's
back.
going back, so it's gonna go.
Yeah, due to inertia.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. So we could say the bowling ball is being left behind actually in space because the whole truck is moving forward, but the bowling ball is staying in its position, so it appears to swing back.
Gotcha.
Yeah, due to inertia, obviously. So pretty easy. So the second one's pretty similar, but instead of a bowling ball, it's a helium balloon tied to a string inside the box truck. So out of these 3, which one is at rest? Yes. Yeah, you kind of almost like second guess it there. But it's for the same reason as the first one, obviously, because it's not moving.
Yeah.
You know? So which one's accelerating forward?
This one.
Which one would you say?
Wait.
A as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait. No, don't say anything.
He already
Okay,
pointed
no,
to
wait,
me.
he didn't. The truck is driving. You're the truck, I'm the balloon. Drive. Whoa, okay, it's C.
Yeah, it's C. Why do you think it's C, if I may ask?
Because isn't it?
Because the truck, because
you pointed
because
to
it's
C,
no,
I
no,
gotta
because it's
figure out.
also because it's floating. It's not hanging from the bottom. It's like from the top, and it's filled with helium. And because the truck is moving, it's also pulling the balloon with it because of like all the force.
Okay, yeah. So it's because it's less dense than the air inside.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can demonstrate that here. So when you have a buoyant object inside a container and you accelerate the container, the buoyant object's going to react in the direction of the force. So in this example, here's obviously a buoyant object inside of water. The water's more dense. If I accelerate in this direction, what direction do you think the ball's going to get pushed? Yes, it's going to go with the direction of the force.
Oh.
Yeah. So pretty easy, right?
Yes.
So since we understand matter will always react to acceleration, whether something's more dense or less dense, right? I actually did this experiment myself inside a cargo van with the helium balloon and an apple hanging from the string, and obviously the helium balloons also with a string. So based on how we understand physics works, what direction did I accelerate here? To the right or to the left?
You're to the right. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, because the helium balloon obviously is being pushed by the air. We meaning the air is moving in that same direction as well. So I did it in a smaller scale like this with a ping pong ball and a steel ball inside of water. So again, based on how we understand physics works, what direction did I
Going to the
accelerate?
left.
Exactly. So not only does matter show us when I applied the force, it also shows us the direction I applied the force. You know? So that's what buoyancy is. It's a chain reaction of a force. So one last one, similar.
Yes, please.
So I had where's my water? So I had a water bottle like this filled with water, again with a ping pong ball and a steel ball.
Okay.
And I was holding it at rest like this. But I only accelerated one of them down. Out of these 2, which one would you say I accelerated down? The one on the left or the one on the right?
This one you accelerate.
The one on the right.
Yeah.
Yes, you got it. Because obviously that one shows the reaction. Matter reacted. So
Yeah.
the ping pong ball got pushed down and the steel ball got left behind. So the one on the left actually it was free fall. So in other words, do you believe if I have something like this and I'm holding it at rest and I release it, do you believe gravity pulls it down towards the
No,
earth?
it's gonna stay.
No. Like right now when I accelerate it, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think gravity pulled it down to the earth, right? So the one on the left was actually free fall, but we see that matter didn't react to that acceleration in free fall.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys knew, gravity is just a theory. So a physical downwards acceleration has never been measured. So it has never been detected, in other words. And one of the reasons is because matter doesn't react to acceleration in free fall. So gravity has never been proven as a pulling force to exist. So you guys want to know what's really happening? So if you understand buoyancy follows the direction of the force, right? If I have a helium balloon here on Earth and I release it, what direction does it go? Helium balloon.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
Yeah.
It like went in one ear and out the
Sure,
other.
sorry. I'll slow down. So if we understand buoyancy, just like I showed with the truck, it follows the direction of the force. It gets pushed by the air in the direction the air is moving. If I have a helium balloon here right now and I released it, what direction does it go? Yes, why do you think it goes up?
Because of the helium. And because all
lighter
the
than air.
Oh no, it's because of it's like, is it like similar to like what happens with like a hot air balloon and like how they're all like bouncing off of one another and then it makes more kinetic energy which like lifts up the hot air balloon?
What's lifting up the hot air balloon, would you say?
Well, that's like the heat which is inside the air, but then for the
Well, the
helium,
heat, obviously it expands the air, so the air becomes less dense inside of the hot air balloon.
and-
Just like the helium is less dense than air. So the air is being, the helium balloon is being pushed by something.
And then,
just like the hot air balloon is being pushed.
So the helium balloon is like pushing the air down?
No.
It's pushing the air away. I don't
So,
know. Guys, I'm not smarter than fifth grader.
No, it's very easy. You're overcomplicating it. So the air is obviously more dense than helium.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why the helium rises, because the air is able to push it up. So the air, because it's more dense, pushes up the helium.
Okay,
so same thing with hot air balloons, because with the heat, it expands the air inside the balloon, which makes it less dense, and then the air is able to push it up. Right. So the air is pushing up the helium. So let me ask you this: what's pushing up the air to be able to push up the helium? What do you think? Because we know matter cannot move itself.
Right.
You know, a helium balloon doesn't move itself.
Gravity.
That is the
Okay,
worst answer.
that's the closest. Yeah, it's actually gravity. But here's the thing: gravity as a pulling force doesn't exist. So the gravity the Earth exerts, it's actually a pushing force. So
Ninth grade physics coming in clutch.
No, yeah. So the Earth, it's actually pushing up against you right now. It's not pulling you down. So the Earth is literally moving up through space right now, which is pushing up the air, which is pushing up the helium. So that's physics right there that can be proven and shown. So a pulling force of the Earth doesn't exist. It's a pushing force, right? So let me ask you guys this: you guys believe the Earth is a ball, right?
Yes.
So you guys understand that on a ball, up is relative. In other words, if you're standing here, your up is this way, but if you're standing down here, your up is this way.
Yeah.
So in every direction away from the center will be your up.
Yeah.
So if we could prove that the ground is literally pushing up on you and not pulling you down, in other words, it's moving up, how can the Earth move up simultaneously in every direction?
Because it's like going like that.
Yeah,
because
but how?
of the core.
Yes,
in the middle.
but how is the Earth able to move up in every direction at the same time to be able to create pressure?
It's going.
No, it's not because it's rotating on its axis.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not because
rotating.
that. Get away. It's in orbit. No, it's because you have the Earth.
Yes.
The core inside of it is really hot. It's doing the exact same thing as what's happening in the hot air balloon, where all the air is pushing. No, it's pushing and it's trying to escape.
Okay.
And that is what causes it to rise. That is what it is doing.
That is
because
what
of
causes
this,
it to rise.
It's exerting.
Thank you
It's
so much.
exerting the gravity, and that is why it's pushing it all directions. Because
So-
the course is circle,
You're
and
still
the Earth is a
talking. He's trying
circle.
to
No, here's the thing. You're close, but the reality is,
Close.
if the Earth was moving up and if it was a ball, that would mean it would have to be expanding. So if you blew up a balloon, for example, it's going to start to push up in every direction at the same time. So the Earth will have to be expanding in order to be able to push up in every direction at the same time, which would mean it would just explode. So it wouldn't work. So in order for people to believe in the ball Earth theory, they first have to believe in the pulling force of gravity. Because without the pulling force of gravity, and if we could prove that it's a pushing force, it wouldn't work from a globe Earth perspective. So this will be the number one proof to debunk the ball Earth theory, is that gravity is not a pulling force, it's a pushing force.
They learned this in fifth grade.
Well, they don't teach us in fifth grade, obviously, because they don't want people to understand this. But if I was to explain it to a 6-year-old, he would understand. A 10-year-old, they would understand that buoyancy always gets pushed in the direction of the force. So they would understand why a helium balloon rises. It's because the air is also moving up. So let me ask you guys respectfully, what's the number one proof or reason that makes you believe the Earth is a ball?
When the astronauts go into space and they take a big photo of it.
So photographs, right? So I actually have a couple of images here, because they're not photographs, they're images. And these are official NASA images from 2002 and 2012.
Circle.
No, they admit that all of their images are CGI. You know what CGI is, right?
Yeah.
It's basically realistic cartoons.
Right.
So a real photograph of the Earth from space as a whole has never been taken. It doesn't exist.
Gotcha.
So what do you think that is? Why do you think a photograph of the Earth from space
Because
doesn't
when you're
exist?
looking at a sphere, you're not gonna see the whole thing. You're gonna see one face of it.
That's true.
I mean, they claim to have satellites, traveling through space and supposedly taking pictures of the Earth. But let me ask you this: if I showed you an image of me flying like Superman, would you believe I could fly?
No.
What if I showed you a video
I mean, I'd
of me
rather.
flying?
No, AI is crazy these days.
No, so you wouldn't believe it. But why wouldn't you believe it?
Because I know you can't fly.
And you know, because that defies physics.
Yes.
Obviously, it's physically impossible for a human being to fly. That's obvious, So same thing with the globe Earth images. Even if they claim they were real, they defy physics.
Right.
So because again, if the globe Earth belief requires that people believe in the pulling force of gravity, but that can easily be debunked. Not only by the fact that gravity is just a theory and a physical downwards acceleration can be measured, it's that the Earth is pushing up. So right now, when I release this into free fall, what happens is the Earth moves up to meet it. So the Earth, you could visualize it kind of like an elevator, and we're all inside of it. So when you release something, the elevator just catches up with it. So this never accelerates down. It's the Earth that moves up to the object. So that's the reality. So, so again, the Earth is physically impossible to be a globe. It's actually a level plane, and we're all on it, and it's literally pushing it.
Okay.
So that's what's going on. So again,
So the Earth is a stick.
no, it's a level surface. I don't know how it looks underneath and outside.
So it's
but
flat.
the surface, no, I wouldn't say flat.
Okay.
Yeah, because flat, over 95% of flat earthers online, because this is a PSYOP as well, flat Earth, they all claim the Earth is motionless. So they deny the fact that the Earth exerts a force.
But then what's going on with the spinning? Is it just
The
spinning
Earth
on
is
a
not
plane?
spinning.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just pushing up.
It's not tilting on
It's a linear
axis?
motion. Yes, no,
Okay.
no. So
I
that,
have
again,
no
they-
idea if I'm being gaslit right now.
no, don't
You're not
trust me.
gaslighting me?
No, don't trust me. Don't believe me.
12:20. Our counselor is waiting for us. I'm so
Okay,
so
so here,
sorry.
you guys can take my
I'm so
information. I go to
sorry.
USC, I go to UCR, and I have debates, well, conversations with physics professors all the time and teachers, and they can't answer it either. You know, they just believe the ball Earth as well.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, no worries, man. You guys take care. All right. They were definitely not expecting that. And I kind of talk a little bit loud, so when there's people around, I'm sure they could hear me. Because this is me talking low now, you know, but... I don't know, that was kind of funny, like, just because, like, they were obviously, like, very, I guess, I don't know, like, not shy, I guess, right? They were very expressive, I guess you could say, in the beginning, and then once the topic came up, obviously they got a little quiet. But yeah, I'm definitely not trolling, obviously. So, but yeah, she thought she was being gaslit. I didn't even get to talk about, like, obviously flat. I was gonna start talk about the physics of water, because I like to give people at least two proofs, right? Which will be the fact that there is no pulling force of gravity, and the physics of water when containing at rest obviously forms a level surface. So yeah, I wanted to like introduce that, but that's when the other girl said, "Oh, we gotta go to class," and I don't know what, but I get it. I get it. No worries. So yeah, that was fun. No, yeah, for sure though, for sure. Next time I might just post up outside. Yeah, there was way more people walking, because not only do students walk through there, a lot of like civilians and visitors walk through there. You know, there's like a few entrances on that side, and most of the people walk through there. You know, if they want to get into another entrance, they still have to walk through there. So if I post up right outside of this entrance, then I definitely get way more people looking at the table, which will increase the odds of people actually stopping and having the conversation. So yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, so yeah, that was good. That was a good icebreaker. You know, that was my first conversation ever here at UCLA. So yeah, thanks to the two young women that stopped, if you watch this, and yeah, that's all I can say. Yeah, there is a lot of people walking, obviously, through here. Obviously, way more than at UCR. Like UCR, you know, right here, at least 5 or 6 times more people. Like, it almost feels like at UCR during like regular school session. You know, but obviously you have your like tour groups as well. Like right now, there's a tour group walking by. Usually tour groups don't stop, obviously, because they're like on schedule. They're touring the campus, so they kind of stay in a group. And again, they usually don't stop. You know, and if they do stop, it's very brief. You know, a couple of minutes at most, and then the group starts to walk away. You know, especially once they start to hear the topic of conversation. You know, so yeah. UCR is in Riverside, California. Dr. Bass, yeah, it's in Riverside. And obviously UCLA is in Los Angeles. More specifically, it's like right next to Beverly Hills. So Beverly Hills is like within, I would say within like 5 miles from here. It's not too far. So yeah, and then this is, you know, allegedly it's like the #1 public school in the country, I believe. You know, so obviously, you know, it does have some popularity, you know, so again, a lot of people do come and visit and tour, you know, the campus. So yeah. No, yeah, definitely next time I think I'm just gonna post up right outside. Like, I'm seeing just more than double the amount of people that I'm seeing right now, and there's still a good amount of people passing through here. The only thing I don't like is that I'm kind of off on the corner, you know, you can't really see the table if you're just walking across. You will have to be looking left to see me if you're walking that way, you know. And then if you're walking this way, like away from me, coming from the back over here, you have to literally turn around to be able to see the table, because you're not going to be able to see it from your peripheral when you're walking straight. So yeah, definitely I think I'm going to post outside next time. But so far so good. I mean there is a lot of students walking by either way, so hopefully we could get in a few more conversations, you know. That'd be great. Yeah, the other two girls were a little bit fast, like, I guess you could say. Okay. What's up? So all right, you guys gonna do it together? You guys can do it together.
Yeah. Okay, with the 3 of us.
It'll be easier. More people, the more minds, the easier, you know?
Okay.
So I have 3 box trucks here.
Okay.
And inside of them, there is a bowling ball hanging with a string. So out of these 3, one is at rest, one is accelerating forward, and one is accelerating in reverse. So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
At rest. The middle one, B.
Yeah. Why do you say that one's at rest?
Because like it's not moving the ball.
Yeah, it's not moving. Exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. Which one's accelerating forward?
A.
Yes. How do you guys know A is accelerating?
Because like the ball goes backwards, you know.
Yes.
Like it was resting, and when the track moves, it like.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's due to inertia.
Yeah, the inertia.
Yeah. So the bowling ball is simply being left behind, and the whole container is moving forward. All right, you guys got it. Pretty easy. So this next one is pretty similar, but instead of a bowling ball, is a helium balloon inside of the truck. So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
D.
Yes, and it's for the exact same reason as the first one, because it's not moving. Which one's accelerating forward?
A.
No, this
No,
is actually C.
What?
So I'm gonna explain to you why. So the air inside of the box truck is obviously more dense than the helium balloon, right?
Yes.
So when you accelerate the box truck in this direction, all of the air inside of the truck is also being pushed in that same direction, which is then able to push the helium balloon because it's less dense.
Okay.
So the helium balloon, yes.
Does
I'm gonna get there.
fifth graders know
there.
that?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
5th graders know that.
Oh yeah, if you explain it to them, it'll click with them. So for example, since we understand buoyancy, because that's what we will call buoyancy, you know, something that's less dense gets pushed by the medium that surrounds it. So here I have a buoyant object inside of water. So you could say it's like a ping pong ball, right? Yeah. If I accelerate in this direction, what direction do you think the ball's gonna go?
Backwards.
No, forward. You guys got it wrong again. You see?
Oh,
okay. Yeah, because the medium is obviously more dense, and because the water is also being pushed in that direction, it's able to push the buoyant object. Yeah. So let me show you guys this. I did this experiment in a cargo van with a helium balloon and an apple. So based on how physics works with buoyant objects and dense objects, which direction would you say I accelerated here? To the right or to the left?
To there. To the right.
Yes. So again, the helium balloon not only does matter show you the moment I apply the force, it also shows you the direction that force was applied, right? And I did it on a smaller scale with a water container filled with water, obviously, a ping pong ball and a steel ball. So in this scenario, what direction did I accelerate? To the right, to the left? Exactly. Pretty easy to understand, right? A 5th grader can understand this, right? Would you guys agree? Yeah. So here's the last one. So I had 2 water bottles again with a ping pong ball and a steel ball, and I was holding it at rest with my hand like this, but I only accelerated one down out of these 2. Which one would you say I accelerated down? The one on the left or the one on the right?
The left.
Wait, this is left, this is right. Which one would you say accelerated? Pay attention.
Right.
Right. And it's easy because that's the one that shows the reaction. Matter reacted to that acceleration. Like there was a change, in other words. Exactly. This one, there was no change. It's still the same. Exactly. So let me ask you guys this. If I was to hold it and it's at rest, but I simply just released it into free fall, not accelerated, but just released it into free fall, do you believe gravity pulled it down towards the earth?
No. Yes. I know. The bottle, yes. But the balls
gravity pulls
wouldn't move.
everything down, right, towards the earth. You guys believe it accelerated down.
Balls wouldn't move.
But here's the thing. The one on the left was actually free fall, but we can see that matter didn't react to that acceleration whatsoever. So I don't know if you guys knew, gravity is just a theory, which means it has never been physically proven. And the reason why is because a downwards acceleration of matter has never been detected or measured. So the reality is, so we understand helium follows the direction of the force, right? That's where I'm going now. If I had a helium balloon here on Earth and I released it, what direction does it go? Why do you think it goes up?
Because the helium is lighter than air.
Yes. But what about the air being more dense that's able to move the helium balloon? How is it moving it?
How is it moving it?
Well, would you agree that the air is pushing up the helium because it's more dense?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we understand matter cannot move by itself, right? It requires an external force or something else to move it. So if the helium's being pushed up by the air, what's pushing up the air?
I don't know.
Yes, gravity. But the reality of gravity is that it's a pushing force of the Earth, not a pulling force. So the Earth right now is pushing up against you. It's not pulling you down. So that pressure that of the Earth pushing up on you, it's the pressure that gets transferred through the air. That's why the air has pressure, and the air then is able to push up the helium. So the air is literally moving up through space as well, which means the Earth is moving up through space. So here, let me ask you guys this.
And then our weight keeps us down.
Yes, due to inertia. Our mass, due to inertia, is what keeps us down.
Okay, because of the movement of the Earth.
Yes, because of the upwards movement of the
got
Earth.
it.
Exactly. So here's the thing. You guys believe the Earth is a ball, right?
Yes.
You guys understand that on a ball, up is relative. In other words, if you're standing right here, up is this way, but if you're standing down here, up is this way. In other words, in every direction away from the center. So if we could physically prove that the ground is pushing up and not pulling down, in other words, the Earth is literally moving up through space, how can the Earth move up through space in every direction at the same time if it was a ball? How would that work?
How can we prove like that?
So the
both
fact is
Earth
that it wouldn't
moving
work.
upwards?
Because if the Earth...
Because everywhere is
Yes, in other words, the Earth will have to be growing. It will have to be expanding in every direction, and it will just explode. So in order for people to believe in the ball Earth theory, they first have to believe in the theory of gravity being a pulling force, because physics shows that it's actually a pushing force. But that would just debunk the whole globe Earth from the start. Because the globe Earth model requires gravity to be a pulling force to be able to explain orbits and how people stick to it, right? But physics shows that that's physically impossible. Yeah, so so if I was to ask you guys respectfully, what's the number one proof that convinces you guys that the Earth is a ball? Why do you guys believe it?
I don't know. I don't have how it turns around and orbits.
What about the spin? That's why you believe it?
Oh, that's because we are orbiting around the sun.
So because you see the sun moving in the sky, they tell us that it's actually us moving around it. That's why you believe it.
I don't know how to explain it in English.
Okay. If you guys, yeah.
Spanish, no, yeah.
¿En Spanish? Yo hablo español también.
Ya, pero es que, o sea, más o menos como...
What's your channel? Sorry.
Yeah, you guys can check it out. You guys can scan the code or give
Não,
that
eu
a rating.
saí da direção da câmera.
No sé, o sea, como que me parece que tipo se están orbitando el Sol, que tiene y está girando básicamente así. Tiene que ser una pelota como para poder girar así, porque si no, si sería un triángulo así por decirlo, no podría tener la misma forma de voltear que tiene un círculo.
Entonces, porque hay día y noche, ¿tú crees que es
No por
porque
día y
está dando
noche, me
vuelta?
refiero a la forma en la que se mueve como orbita, ¿entiendes? Es que no sé cómo explicarlo.
Ya no, sí, pero tú sabías que el orbit de la Tierra nunca se ha observado o
No tenía idea.
sí, no, eso es toda una theory también. Todo, eso es una theory. Todo lo que nos dicen del espacio no es realidad. Es todo CGI. ¿Sabes qué es CGI?
Sí.
Todo el espacio es CGI. So, what about you guys? What's the number one proof that makes you believe there's
I
a
mean,
ball?
all the footage prove it.
Footage from
So you're talking about like pictures and photographs.
But he says
No,
it's CGI.
not all that. I mean, why? why would they tell us it's wrong? I mean, what's the motive?
What's the benefit, right?
You know, yeah.
Do you guys understand that religions, most of the time, they just take advantage of people, right?
Yeah. I mean,
right? They're just mostly
they do.
there. They're mostly there to
Yeah.
like control
I mean,
people's
not as
perceptions
core,
about what
but
the
what
Earth
it
is,
comes
right?
to, yeah.
So the globe Earth is basically a religion as well. It's the biggest religion on Earth. So it's there to control people's minds and to basically have an understanding about what this reality actually is.
I mean, but
So nobody knows what this reality actually is as a whole. All I know is that it's not a ball in outer space and it's a level surface. So for example, when I have a free falling object and I release it, because there is no physical downwards of acceleration of a free falling object, it's actually the Earth that comes up to meet it. So everything else, everything's moving up right now. So we're all moving up. So as long as something's not connected to the Earth just comes up to meet it.
Okay.
So that's what's happening.
so
So things fall down due to inertia because the air's not dense enough to push it, but it is able to push helium or lighter gases. you know?
So, do you think the whole concept of universe is a lie?
Yes. Everything about
And
the
what do you
universe.
believe? Like,
So I don't have beliefs. I just go with what physics shows me. And physics shows
Like
me
science.
that yes, science. I'm actually I go with natural science. So the globe Earth is formal science, which is not real science, not natural science. It's based on language. So the globe Earth only exists on
No,
paper
no, it will be
because
alive
again it's
if
just
you're
formal
not gonna
science.
do it.
They only have mathematical
but like,
equations.
what do you think? Like,
So the
happens?
Earth, in my opinion, nobody's been outside of the Earth because, in my opinion, the Earth is a contained system. How do I know that? Because here at sea level, we have 14.7 psi of air pressure, right? In order to maintain air pressure, you require a solid barrier to maintain the air. So they're telling us that outer space is a negative pressure system next to the Earth's pressure without a solid barrier separating those two gas pressures. So that's physically impossible to have a vacuum next to pressure without a physical barrier. So nobody's been outside of the Earth, in other words, in reality. So no,
like the people that say they've touched the moon,
it's
do you
all
think it's
CG.
fake?
Yes, 100%.
So, like,
So if no worries. So if I showed you guys an image of me flying, would you guys believe I could fly?
No,
What if I showed you a video of me flying?
no,
Why wouldn't you guys believe me?
because it's physically impossible.
Exactly.
Because gravity pulls you down.
So the globe Earth is physically impossible as well.
Depends on what you believe.
Can
Well,
we say hi
I go-
in the live?
I'm sorry?
Can we say hi in the live?
Oh yeah, definitely. You guys should come
that's true.
around.
Let's say hi. In the live.
Hi.
Hi everybody. Hi.
Can we take a picture there?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So yeah, so here, you guys took the flyer, right?
I've already followed.
All right, man. Appreciate that, man. All right, man.
Love you, man. Love you.
All right, you guys take care. Yeah, thanks for the chat, man. Appreciate it. Oh man, good thing about my water. I almost didn't bring it, but kind of have a dry mouth right now, so. So that was at least 6 of them, probably more. So that was good. That was really good. I think I didn't have my camera like zoomed out enough or pulled back enough to be able to get everyone, but it's cool. Alright, let me just say hi to the chat real quick. Anybody that just joined. Jollyman, Dr. Bass, RJ, Renewed Awareness, Andrew, They Live, Blackbird, Ram, what's up? Good to see you. Manuel, Kevin, Sean, what's up everyone? Hey.
Hello. Can we try it?
Yes, definitely. That's why I'm here.
Are you going to post it then?
Yeah, I may or may not, depending on how it goes. So, you guys are not students here, huh? You guys?
No.
No, yeah, you guys are very young. But so I have 3 box trucks here, and I have a bowling ball hanging with the string. So out of these 3 box trucks, one is at rest, one is accelerating forward, and one is accelerating in reverse. So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
I would say this one.
Yes. Yes, you guys got it. Why do you think it's B?
Because if it was going forward, the ball would move back.
Yes.
Because of the drag.
Yes. Okay.
And
Not
This
drag
one-
necessarily, but
This one
inertia.
backwards
Yeah,
and this was forward.
Yes. Yes. So again, this one's accelerating forward, obviously because the ball's swinging back.
Yeah.
So in reality, the ball is being left behind. In other words, so it just appears to swing back. But yeah, you guys got it. Pretty easy. So the second one is pretty similar, but instead of a bowling ball, it's a helium balloon tied to a string. So out of these three, which one is at rest?
Also the one of the
Yes, yeah, exactly. For the same reason as the first one, because it's not moving. So which one's accelerating forward?
This one.
Which one would you say?
yeah, I would say that one
A?
too.
Okay.
Because of the same reason.
Same reason you think? Okay. Well, here's the thing.
I would say
Now,
B.
no, it's actually C in this one. So the reason why it's C is because the air inside the van is more dense than the helium. So when I accelerate the truck in this direction, the
Go to
air,
the direction.
yes, the air is also being pushed in that direction. So the air is able to push the helium in that same direction because it's more dense than air is more dense than helium. And I can demonstrate that here with this. This ball is less dense than the medium that surrounds it,
Yeah.
which is water. If I accelerate in this direction, what direction do you think it's gonna go?
Because it has a helium, it's gonna go there.
Yeah, it has air, but it's less dense.
Can
though.
I move it?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, it went
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, if you go faster, it'll happen even faster. Maybe just wait for it to stop. Good. See, you guys push to the front because the water's more dense. So you guys understand what buoyancy is, right? Something that's buoyant,
Yeah,
like something that floats in water. Yeah, it floats in water because the water's more dense and is able to push on it, right? So here, let me show you this real quick. So I did this experiment inside of a cargo van, but understanding how matter behaves when you apply a force or acceleration, what direction would you say I accelerated this van? To the right or to the left?
This side.
Yes, because the helium balloon obviously is being pushed in that direction, which means the air is moving in that direction as well. So not only does matter show you when there's a force present, but it shows you the direction that force is, right? So just real quick, I did it in a smaller scale with a water container, with a ping pong ball, which is red, and a steel ball. So what direction would you say I accelerated this one? To the right or to the left? Yes, to the left. Pretty easy to understand, right? So real quick, the last one. So I was holding a water bottle like this with a ping pong ball and a steel ball. I was holding it at rest, but I only accelerated one down, vertically down. Which one of these two would you say I accelerated? The one on the left or the one on the right? Yes, the one on the right. Yeah, that's the obvious one. Because you can see that matter reacted to that acceleration. The one on the left, there was no reaction whatsoever.
So it just stayed like.
Yeah, there was no change, put it that way, from the two balls in there, you know. So let me ask you this: if I'm holding it at rest, but I simply just released it into free fall, do you guys believe gravity pulls it down to the earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You guys believe gravity accelerates it down to the earth, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. The one on the left was actually free fall. I simply just released it, but we see that matter didn't react to that acceleration whatsoever.
Because in this one you did the force, and that was because the gravity acts on everything all the time.
Okay, that's what they tell us. So that kind of force that they're claiming is happening in free fall, in other words, they're claiming acceleration without any effects of acceleration. That kind of force has never been basically proven to exist. So that's why gravity is just a theory. I don't know if you guys knew gravity is just a theory. And the reason why is because it hasn't never been physically proven that objects accelerate down towards the earth. So the fact is, when I release this object and I release it into free fall, it's not the object that moves down to the earth, it's the earth that moves up to the object. So, and how do we know that? Again, helium shows us the direction of the force. If I have a helium balloon here on Earth and I release it, what direction does it go? A helium balloon, what direction will it go if I release it?
To the direction that you're showing.
No, if I have a helium balloon, I'm holding it, right? But I just simply released it.
Up.
Yes, it goes up. Why do you think it goes up?
Because the helium is thinner than air, like
Yes,
lighter.
it's less dense than air. So the air is pushing up the helium. So we understand matter cannot move by itself, right? So what's pushing up the air to be able to push up the helium?
No.
So what's pushing?
Gravity.
Yes, gravity. But here's the thing. Gravity as a pulling force doesn't exist. So the fact is the Earth's force is actually a push. So again, the Earth right now is pushing up against you. It's not pulling you down. And again, helium shows us that because the air is being pushed by the ground, and then the air is able to push up a helium balloon. That's how it works. It's a chain reaction of a force, right? So in other words, the Earth is literally moving up right now through space. But you guys believe the Earth is a ball, right?
Yeah.
So you guys understand that on a ball, up is relative. In other words, if you're standing here, up is this way. If you're standing down here, up is this way.
Yeah.
In every direction away from the center will be up on a ball. If we could prove that the ground is literally moving up through space, creating the pressure, air pressure, and the pressure under your feet, how can the Earth move up in every direction at the same time if it was a ball?
Because of gravity. I don't know.
Well, yeah, gravity is a push. But how can the Earth push up in every direction on a ball? How can it
because of
move up?
the electromagnetic forces pulls around the Earth, and that's pushing outside and pulling within, because the ball and the electromagnetic, it goes like this.
Yeah, but electromagnetic fields don't affect wood, for example. They only affect metal, right? That's why.
Well, like the inner materials of the Earth, like the inner core, the outer core, the molten metals.
Okay, fair enough. But here's the thing. If the ground was literally moving up, and we could prove that, through buoyancy, that it's being pushed up, it wouldn't work from a globe, because that would mean the Earth will have to be expanding to be able to push up in every direction. It's like when you fill up a balloon, it starts to fill up and it pushes up in every direction. So, in other words, the Earth would just explode if it was pushing up. So, in order for people to believe in the ball Earth theory, they first have to believe in the gravity being a pulling force, which can be easily debunked. So the Earth is actually pushing, not pulling. So the Earth...
Wasn't gravity a pushing force underneath, so like from under the pushing force?
So you think gravity is like pulling everything down towards the...
Yeah, I feel like
Earth, right?
pushing everything down.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That kind of force has never been measured or detected. So the real force is buoyancy, and it shows us that it's up. So again, the Earth is actually a level plane, and we're all standing on it, and it's literally pushing up against you right now. So everybody's up is the same. So now I know they try to tell us that in China, their up is opposite from us, and Australia has a different up than us, right?
Because they're on a different place on the globe.
Yes, on a globe. But the reality is, again, because the globe Earth is physically impossible, it's actually a level plane, and everybody's up is the same. So that doesn't change. So orientation here on Earth is singular.
But the curvature of the Earth can be seen?
No, that actually has never been seen or measured. Do you know the radius of the Earth? They tell us?
Like 86,000, something like that.
Yeah, it's actually 3,959 miles. That's what the radius of the Earth, they tell us. So obviously you understand, you multiply it by 2, you get the diameter, and then you multiply it times pi, you get the circumference. So in other words, if there was truly curvature of the Earth, it should be physically measurable. But using so yeah, it should be 8 inches per mile squared. That's how much curvature there should be if the Earth was a ball. So it's just not there. Nobody's physically measured it or detected it.
Thank you.
All right, you guys take care. All right. No, yeah, they were like pretty young, probably like 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and obviously it's kind of harder to keep their attention and I guess to get them interested in this more than somebody that's a little bit older. So yeah, I didn't expect that conversation to go that good. So, and I was right. But again, I don't want to be rude and exclude them because everyone's welcome, obviously. I don't. What do you say? I don't. I forgot the word. I don't discriminate. There we go. From of age or anything. So. No, yeah, the group before this, the slightly bigger group, obviously they were a little bit older. But yeah, they were definitely more interested and basically understood the points. So that was a pretty good conversation for sure. So yeah. Again, I haven't even been able to get to the second proof, which is the physics of water, because yeah, I kind of have to get people to like concede, themselves that that without a pulling force of gravity, a globe Earth wouldn't exist. But obviously, I explained that with how can the Earth push up, if gravity wasn't a pull and it was actually a push, how would that work from a ball, right? Obviously, that wouldn't work. But I kind of wanted to like click with people, it doesn't click with everyone, but yeah, that's kind of like the goal at the end of the day. is for people to understand that the globe Earth model and the globe Earth concept relies on the idea of gravity being a pulling force of the Earth. You know, so I mean, the fact that in the last conversation that he knew the explanation, which was, oh, there's no reaction to matter because gravity, you know, accelerates everything equally or acts on all the matter equally, you know. But again, that's just an explanation. That kind of physics where you can accelerate a container again like this with a buoyant object and a dense object, and the objects don't react to any acceleration, for example, laterally. That kind of force doesn't exist. You know, like again, like some kind of, if you could imagine, right, like some kind of magnetic force that grabs onto all of the matter at the same time and then just accelerates it together, so then there is no reaction of matter. Again, that kind of force doesn't exist. You know, because then again, this force will have to not only be able to like split itself, but it will have to be able to apply different amounts of pressure to different states of matter. Right? If it accelerates all matter equally, then gravity is going to have to apply more force on a more dense object than something that's less dense. So not only, again, does gravity is going to have to split itself to be able to grab all the matter, it's going to have to apply different amounts of force to be able to accelerate it all equally. And again, that kind of force is cartoon physics. It just doesn't exist. You know, and that's the reason why the mainstream, even Einstein, will admit, you know, that gravity is just a theory. In other words, it's just an idea. It's just an explanation. In other words, it's just a baseless explanation because it has no practical physics to back it up. Again, the kind of force that can act not only equally on all matter in free fall, but again, force that can act on the air, like pulling it down, but then the air is able to push helium up in the opposite direction the air is being pulled. Again, that's literally the opposite of what physics shows. Physics shows that the medium that surrounds a buoyant object has to be moving in a particular direction to be able to push the less dense object in that same direction the air is moving, for example. But again, the globe Earth wants us to believe that the air is being pulled down. In other words, the air is being moved in the downwards direction, right here. But it's somehow the air is able to push up the helium in the opposite direction. So again, gravity is strong enough to pull all the air in, right? But it's not strong enough to pull helium, which is less dense. So it should require less force to pull it down, right? But it doesn't. It goes in the opposite direction of the force, of the alleged force, which again, it's a complete and direct contradiction of what physics actually shows, you know. You want to give it a shot?
What's this? Are
It's
you smarter than fifth gender?
a fifth grader. So I have two very easy questions.
You're a student here.
Me, I'm not a student here. Yeah, I'm just visiting.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
try it.
Yeah, you can give it a shot. So I have 3 box trucks here, and there's a bowling ball hanging with a string inside of them. So one box truck is at rest, one is accelerating forward, and one is accelerating in reverse. So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
Which one is get fast?
No, which one is at rest? Which one's not moving? You know when something is at rest?
Three, both.
Yeah, so these 3, one is at rest. You know what that means, right? Or no?
Right, stop.
Like, yeah, it's stopped. One is stopped. One is accelerating forward, and one is accelerating in reverse. So there's 3 different options, right? So which one?
It's have a, right? A.
What about it?
Means that's the spray rate double.
Okay.
I know this may be get faster.
Yes, this one's accelerating forward.
And this get stop.
You stop or reverse.
Reverse.
Yeah, reverse.
And this may be stop here and get really fast, but it's balanced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Okay. So yeah, a little bit of a language barrier, but it's okay. Okay. Let's see if we could get through this one. Pretty similar, but instead of a bowling ball, it's a helium balloon. So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
Which one is rest?
At rest. Yeah. Which one? A, B, or C?
Okay. The wind is going fast.
Do you understand?
Speed up
Or stop. Which one's stopped?
stop.
Which one?
Yeah.
is
Which one is
stop?
stopped? Which one is stopped?
This one.
Hey.
No. So So like right here, like it's at rest. It's not moving forward or back.
yeah.
So it will be B.
Yeah.
B is stopped. B is not moving
B is-
because the helium balloon is not reacting. It's not
Yeah.
moving.
Oh,
Right.
I
So
know.
it's vertical.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it shows that the box truck is at rest. Right.
Okay.
It's not moving. Which one would you say is accelerating forward?
Use translation machine.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
The air in it is the role of the air in it is smaller than the air.
Yes,
Oh.
the helium is less dense
That's
than
right.
the air. Yes.
That's right.
So you would say this one's accelerating forward,
Yeah.
or
So
this one's accelerating forward?
I select A.
You select A is accelerating
I
forward.
select A.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually C.
C.
C is accelerating
right.
forward.
I'm right. You
No,
know?
and the reason is because air is more dense
Yeah.
than helium.
Yeah.
So the air, when you accelerate the container in that direction, the air inside is also being pushed.
What kind of air in this?
Helium.
Helium. Oh.
So helium is less dense than air, so the
Yeah.
air is able to push it in the direction of the applied force.
Yeah.
So here I can show you guys this right here. So this is a buoyant object. The ball is less dense than the water.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
If I accelerate in this direction, what direction will the ball go? Forward or back? Forward.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that's what buoyancy is. So a chain reaction of a force.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So let me just ask you guys this real quick. It's pretty easy. It's really easy. So if we understand, helium reacts in the direction of the force. So I have an apple hanging with a string and a helium balloon in the cargo van.
Okay.
What direction would you say I accelerated this cargo van? To the right or to the left? Yes, you got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Because that's it's showing you that the helium balloon is being pushed in that direction by the air, which also is moving in that same direction.
Yeah.
The air, exactly. So I did it in a smaller scale
Okay.
with water.
Okay.
This is a container filled with water, a ping pong ball, and a steel ball.
Yeah.
So which direction did I accelerate here? To the right or to the left? Yes, to the right. So buoyancy shows you the direction of the force.
Yeah.
So the buoyant object gets pushed by the medium that surrounds it.
You have the video that show me clearly.
Yes.
That,
Yes.
Yes.
So buoyancy always follows
Yeah.
the direction of the force. So let me ask you this. I was holding a water bottle like this with a ping pong ball and a steel ball, right?
Yes.
I only accelerated one of them down out of these two, vertically down.
Yeah.
Which one did I accelerate? Right or left?
Left.
You think I accelerated the one on the left? Why do you think?
Which one is ping pong ball?
Which one's accelerating down? Which one did I accelerate down? I was holding it like this, and I only accelerated one down. You think it's the left one? It was actually the right one.
Right one.
Yeah, and then it's easy to see that matter reacted to that acceleration.
按这个北京高考题一般不这么出。
So the ping pong ball gets pushed down in the direction of the force, and the steel ball gets left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one that shows change.
Yeah.
So there was a change. So that was So that's the one I
Let's
accelerated.
have a G. You know G?
Yeah, G-force.
G-force. Yeah.
Yes, I applied. This one shows the G-force.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
F on top.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one shows that there's G-force being applied. This one doesn't. There's no change, right? Let me ask you this. Do you believe if I'm holding it and I release it into free fall, just released it into free fall,
Release.
do you believe gravity pulls it down to the earth?
No, it's only the 加速度. I don't know how to say English. Maybe I can translate.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's wait a second. Okay, sorry.
All right, no
Maybe
worries,
next
man.
time.
Yeah. Here, maybe you guys can take this
Okay.
and give it a read. You can,
Okay,
you can
boss.
take it with you. Yeah, you
Okay,
can take it with
thank
you.
We are the student from
Thank you,
China.
sir.
Yeah.
Can we take one picture with you?
Oh, sure.
okay.
Yeah.
It's very meaningful.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, it is.
稍等一下，拍照。
There you go.
I go there. Together.
Okay, there you
你
go.
们先整你们的，我们整我们的。
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Have a good one.
Have a good
All
time.
right, you too. Thanks for the chat.
Bye bye.
All right, bye-bye. Pull is merely a description of direction. I pulled the door open towards me. Exactly. Yeah, Yeah, so yeah, it was a bit of a language barrier there, obviously. So yeah, it's kind of hard to try to communicate when there's a language barrier, especially. Obviously, he said the visuals really helped them understand what I was trying to present. So that's good. Again, even if there's a language barrier, if you have the practical and you're able to demonstrate it, you know, you're still able to get your point across. So this was a perfect example of that, at least, you know. So at least we got that out of it, you know. So, but yeah, again, two people that speak a completely different language, for example, someone can still teach someone, for example, how to drive without even speaking it, right? So if you have somebody in the passenger seat, right, and you're teaching them how to drive, or if you can literally just show them what does what by physically demonstrating. So obviously you point at your pedal and show, like, look, if I press the gas, you're not telling them this, but you're showing them, look, when I press the gas, the car moves forward, right? You don't even need to speak, you just have to show them, right? And then and then also you can show them, like, oh, look, when I switch from P to R and I press the gas, it goes in reverse, right? You can show someone this without even having to speak to them. Again, because it's practical, it's demonstrable. So again, teaching someone how to drive a car, for example, you don't need language, because cars are real, cars are physical. You can demonstrate how a car works without having to say any words, you know. So again, having practicality examples of what you're talking about is huge when you're talking about this subject, for example, because we all know the globe Earth is just theories which don't have anything practical, and it's because obviously all of the practical shows that the globe Earth is impossible, you know. For example, the fact that the Earth, there's no pulling force of the Earth and it's actually a pushing force, right? And the fact that the physics of water, when contained at rest, you know, the water will always form a level surface, you know. So again, these simple demonstrable facts about physics can be shown practically, and people can understand how the globe Earth can be, it's physically impossible. Now, this is where it just becomes on the, you know, it's a personal issue at that point for people to either accept it or not. You know, it just shows some people might understand it right away and accept it right away, you know, and a lot of people will push back. And obviously this shows how brainwashed people are, in my opinion, the levels of brainwashing, right? Because some people are way more committed to the globe Earth than others, and those people are harder to get through, you know. But again, you know, like I was saying, having practical examples and demonstrations, it's really important, you know, because at the end of the day, language, just trusting language, is what got us in this situation in the first place. Because we trust these experts now, you know, astrophysicists, for example, we're just, you know, taking their words, you know, at face value. We're just trusting now what they're saying in words without any of the demonstrations physically, right? And that's how people, you know, and including myself, bought into the ball Earth theory. Not only that, you add that, you know, you add images to that, you know, CGI images that they show you on the screen, you know, Universal Studios showing the globe Earth at the beginning of every movie, for example, you know, news stations showing a little globe, you know, it's everywhere, you know, all the media shows a globe Earth on your screen. So you add that to the language, and that's how we get to the situation we're in now, where the majority of the population believes the Earth is something that it's not. But again, if we go back to physics, natural science, which can be, you know, it's measurable, testable, and repeatable, which is, again, the scientific method, then that, it's going to show us that the globe Earth is physically impossible. You know, and that's why you will never hear Neil deGrasse Tyson, for example, or Brian Cox, or none of these, you know, globe Earth priests talk about real science, like, you know, natural science, because that's going to go against the model that they're pushing. So what do instead? They start talking about outer space and start talking about light speed and how planets are light years away, and NASA, and we've discovered another Earth-like planet 26 light years away, and we discovered that Mars has water in it and all that. So again, they're just distracting people with the idea of outer space and what's actually out there. You know, they're just distracting people with that, because that kind of reaffirms the globe Earth. So if you believe the lights in the sky are other planetoids or terra firma that are balls, right? And the Earth must be another ball as well, you know. But the fact is, the lights in the sky, first of all, nobody's been to them. So nobody's actually going out into outer space to explore these places, right? Again, all of that CGI. There is a limit to how high human beings can fly, you know, with equipment like helicopters and airplanes and even rockets, right? Why is there a limit? Because in order for something to gain lift, you know, whether it's an airplane, whether it's a helicopter, or even a rocket, right? The pressure that's created by the rocket or the pressure that's created by the propellers of a helicopter, you know, they have to push off of the air to gain lift. So again, the air has to be at a certain density to be able to push off of it, to be able to lift, you know, lift yourself or, you know, gain altitude. The higher you elevate, the less dense the air becomes, so the less that a helicopter or a rocket ship is gonna be able to push off of the air. So you're gonna get to a limit where you can't push off of the air anymore because it's not dense enough. So that will be the limit to how high we could go, which is around 25 to 30 miles, in my opinion, based on actual, you know, based on how high airplanes fly, for example, and like a record, based on the records, you know, that they show some of these airplanes, you know, flying. So that shows that it's physically impossible to go higher than that. And again, based on physics, but they're claiming they're going beyond that and into outer space, which again, having a vacuum next to a pressurized system, which would be the atmosphere of the Earth, without a solid barrier separating the two, defies the second law of thermodynamics and entropy. Obviously, because due to entropy, the pressure here on Earth will just disperse in every direction until there's equilibrium. That's what happens when you don't have air pressure contained by a solid barrier. So again, this whole idea of outer space and people going into this imagination land or imaginary place, it's all there as a distraction. It's all there just to reaffirm the belief in the ball Earth. Because again, the physics here on Earth that we can all test for ourselves shows again that the globe Earth is physically impossible. And same thing with the outer space idea. You know, physics, the second law of thermodynamics shows that it is physically impossible for a vacuum to be next to the Earth's pressure without a solid barrier separating the two. So again, it's just a distraction. Outer space, what's, you know, what they're finding out there and all of this bullshit. Again, that's what like people like Neil deGrasse Tyson will focus on, because again, real natural physics here on Earth will show that all of that's bullshit, right? So again, this is very easy to understand, and it's the reason why it's the #1 censor topic online right now. It's because it's so easy to understand. It's very fundamental, it's very practical, it's very easy to understand. You know, for example, in order for the air to be able to push helium in any direction, the air has to be moving in that same direction as well. But we know air cannot just move itself in any direction it wants, right? Because the air cannot push itself. I think that's just retarded. Just like a helium balloon cannot push itself. The helium balloon relies on the air that's surrounding it to give it direction, to give it motion, right? And in order for that to happen, the air also has to be moving in that same direction, right? So air is no different than helium. Air also requires something else to push it, you know, because the air just doesn't move itself, obviously. So again, physics shows that it's the Earth, the physical Earth, the ground, that's literally pushing up, creating the air pressure here on Earth, which then is that air pressure then is able to push things like helium balloon or hot air balloons or anything that's lighter than air is able to get pushed up by the air, because the air is moving in this direction. It's moving up. So the applied pressure on the air pressure here is acting in this direction. It's acting in the upwards direction, which shows that it's the Earth literally pushing up. So again, that's the reason why when you release something into free fall, that's the reason why the object doesn't accelerate down. It's because it's the Earth that's moving up to the object. And the object is just simply being left behind due to inertia. So because mass has inertia, you know, when something's not being physically pushed, or it's not dense enough to push, like this ball, for example, in free fall, again, due to its inertia and the air not being dense enough to push it up, the Earth simply catches up to it again. So the solid ground crashes into the ball, for example, in this scenario. The ball doesn't accelerate down and crash to the Earth. It's the Earth that moves up and crashes into the ball. So it only appears to go down because we're also moving up with the Earth. So again, that is only a visual interpretation of objects accelerating down. It's just because it looks that way. But if it was everything else moving up instead, and the object, again, just being left behind and the Earth crashes into the object, we will get the exact visual results. But again, visual measurement of something is not a real measurement. It's not a physical measurement. Again, it's just visual. It's just a visual interpretation. So what's actually happening? Well, again, matter will show us what's actually happening. You know, matter is going to show that the force of the Earth is up. It's a push, not a pull. You know, the fact that buoyancy acts in this direction, up, and not left, right, or down, shows that air, for example, here on Earth, is being pushed up to be able to push up the less denser gases as well. So again, pretty easy to understand. Oh man, I'm gonna get a little bit of sun, hopefully not too long, but damn, we'll see how it goes. Let me see if the chat has anything to offer. So yeah, this is not a bad spot whatsoever, but for sure outside, you know, right outside on the campus, there's way more foot traffic. So definitely gonna try out posting the table outside next time and see how that goes. Angelito, UCLA still doing construction 10 years later. No, yeah, they're always going to be doing construction, believe it or not, like always. They're always going to try to expand or, you know, make the buildings taller, you know, or demolish a building and rebuild it, in other words. So there's always going to be construction at universities. Even the high school I went to, they're always just doing construction. They're always adding new buildings. They're making them taller, you know, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just to accommodate the population, obviously, as well. You know, that population is growing as well. You know, so that's just what's happening. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people just like touring the campus. A lot of people that don't attend the school are definitely here more than students. But yeah, nonetheless, you know, this topic is for everyone at the end of the day, you know. Obviously, the younger the crowd, then I would say maybe the less interest they might show in the subject, you know. But again, that's still subjective, obviously. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like high schoolers that, you know, that benefited from this information, right? Or that understood this information and it really, you know, makes an impact, you know. But again, you know, it depends. Yeah, god dang it. The sun's like beaming straight down at me right now, but I don't want to move the table. I mean, I could, but I give it another 10 or 15 minutes maybe, and then the building will probably be able to give me some shade, but Luckily, it's not that hot. You know, it's like in mid 80s, I would say. Let me check. Okay, 82 degrees, not bad. So that's why the sun doesn't feel that hot right now. But I know eventually, you know, if it just keeps beaming down on you, it gets hotter. So yeah. Let me check to see if there's any questions. I'll say hi to anyone new that just joined. Angela, Amanda, Cal40, Food, Travel, Earthship Bear, what's up? Jolly Man, Realm Walker, Iwan, B. Thomas, and yeah, and Angelito, yep. I think that's everyone. No, yeah, for sure, there's still a way, in my opinion. Obviously, you could always get better. That's another thing. You can always get better. So obviously, the way I present this, you know, can obviously be, in my opinion, obviously I could get better at it. And in order to get better at it, in my opinion, is to put it into practice, right? So putting it to practice, actually doing it, then you can see how people absorb the information, right? And you can see where people kind of don't get something, and you could make adjustments, right? So yeah, you know, at the end of the day, you could always get better at explaining things. You can always get better at, you know, speaking to people. And the best way to get better, in my opinion, is to put it into practice. You know, at the end of the day, is to actually go out and have the conversations, learn from them, you know, sharpen your tools, so that next time you go out, you know, you could be a little, you know, you get your point across a little better, you know. So again, at the end of the day, I feel like I do get through most people. And again, it's very easy to understand. You know, at the end of the day, it comes down to people's biases as well. You know, because this is not hard to understand. It's very easy. It's very elementary. You know, it's just that the brainwashing is pretty deep. You know, the brainwashing does. You know, people do have a core belief in the globe Earth. You know, and they're willing to defend it. You know, at all costs. For some people, you know, some people they don't really care. You know, and it actually shows, because they're open to the fact of, you know, that we have been lied to, or they're open to the facts that show that the globe Earth is impossible. You know, so again, at the end of the day, you know, it's a personal journey at the end of the day to come to this understanding, but pointing someone in the right direction, you know, with the experiments, and you know, could definitely help. You know, shit. I don't have a straw in this one. So yeah, in the last conversation, in the last video I did, the 2-hour conversation I had with the guy, when he was saying that, oh, what gives matter orientation, or why do we have orientation here on Earth? He kept saying like, oh, something has to exist in order to have orientation. So what I got from that, you know, after watching the video again, what he was trying to say, in my opinion, is like, for example, let's, you know, we have this bottle, right? And let's say there's water in it, right? let's say we had an empty space, like nothing was existing, right? Nothing. And we just popped this bottle into existence, right? What he was trying to say, or what I think he was trying to say, is that by simply having something existing, for example, like this bottle, that obviously this bottle was designed with a top, obviously the cap, that will be the top, and obviously the bottom will be the opposite of that. That would be the bottom here, right? Well, I think what he was trying to say is that when something is just existing, it already has direction because it was created with a top and a bottom, right? But I guess I should have asked, like, why does matter move, in a particular direction? Why doesn't a helium balloon go right or left? Why does it go up, right? There's a vector, in other words. I should have emphasized a motion vector. Like, why do we have a motion vector, right? Which I think he would have just said that, something existing gives matter its direction. So this is where we go into, like, motionless flat Earth ideas of that matter just sorts itself based on its relative density. And then you could ask them, well, why does it go up and why does it go down? Well, it's just the way it was created. So again, it's almost the same thing as the guy was saying, that, it's just the way it exists. In other words, something has to exist in order to have direction. So it's just the way it exists, in other words, right? It's no different than saying, it's just the way it was created to do that. It just goes, lighter substances go up and denser substances go down. So at the end of the day, I think that's what he was trying to say at the end of the day, is that, just something has to exist to have orientation. But the reality is if something is just existing, you still require an external force to move matter within that container. And depending on the direction of the force, then you're going to have motion of matter now. Now you're going to have a vector. Now you're going to have helium balloons and air bubbles going in a particular direction, and more denser objects, appearing to move in the opposite direction of that. And that's only happens when the container is in motion. You cannot have a motion vector of matter within a container without motion of the container itself. So the container, for example, if this was popped into existence, the water wouldn't settle to the bottom unless the bottle was moving up, for example, in this scenario. Because obviously water is more dense than air. The water is going to be left behind until it hits the bottom of the bottle, right? It's moving in that direction, and that's where the water is going to start to compress. And because water is more dense than air, the water is going to push the air in the opposite direction. So again, in order to have a motion vector of matter within a container, the container itself needs to be in motion. So again, the Earth is that container. The Earth is a container, and it's in motion, and that's why we have a motion vector of less dense objects like helium going up, because it's being pushed up by the air, which is being pushed up by the ground, and then more dense objects like an apple or a bowling ball appearing to go down, again, due to inertia, because it's being left behind, in other words. So again, you require the container to be in motion to have that motion vector. If the container is motionless and the container is not exerting a force, then the matter inside the container is not going to have any direction of what's up and down. Again, just because you created a ceiling and a floor, that doesn't automatically give matter a motion vector. You require that container itself to be in motion to give the matter within the container, the motion vector we experience here on Earth, for example. So again, so just saying that, something has to exist in order for matter to have motion, like, again, that's no different than motionless flat earthers saying that it's just the way it was created. It's just the way it was created. That's why helium goes up, and that's why an apple falls, because it's just RDD. It is due to the relative densities, and based on the relative densities, the Earth is already programmed to sort matter, automatically, without any motion of the Earth, right? That's cartoon physics. That's pseudoscience. That is not real. That cannot be recreated or demonstrated here on Earth. We cannot take a force like gravity, a pulling force of gravity, and recreate it in any other vector or in any way, for that matter, because it's not real. that kind of force doesn't exist. You know.
Do you
All
think
right.
the Earth is flat?
No, the Earth is not flat.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah,
So what
I
is
know,
this?
100%. So it's two very easy questions to
Okay.
see if people understand basic physics.
Okay.
You know, elementary
Gotcha.
physics. So I have 3 box trucks, and there's a bowling ball hanging with a string inside.
Yeah.
So one is at rest, one is accelerating forward, and one is accelerating in reverse. So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
B.
Yes. How do you know that one's at rest?
Because it's stationary.
Yes, the ball's not moving in any direction, obviously. Which one's accelerating forward?
No, A.
Yeah.
Yo, are you serious, bro?
So how do you
He thought it was a balloon with helium.
No, how
that's
do you
all.
guys know it's A?
Because it's heavy, so it's going to go back when you start going forward.
Yeah, due to inertia. So the bowling ball is simply being left behind, in other words. So you guys got the first one. So the second one's pretty easy.
Oh, okay.
So instead of a bowling ball, it's a helium balloon now.
That's what I just said.
So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
B.
Yes, and it's for the exact same reason as the first because it's not reacting, it's not moving, right? Which one's accelerating forward?
C.
Yes. Well, how do you know it's C?
I forget the exact reasoning, but
Because it's wider.
yeah. Or,
It's A.
So
no,
the-
it's C.
It is C. It is C. So I'm gonna explain to you why it is C.
Okay.
So the air inside of the box truck is obviously more dense than the helium, right? So when I accelerate the truck in this direction, all of the air inside is yes, it's also being pushed in that direction. So the helium balloon reacts to that push, and it gets it gets pushed in that same direction of the force, right? Easy. So I did this example in a cargo van myself, and I want to see if you guys can tell what direction I accelerate based on these basic principles. So again, a helium balloon tied to a string and an apple as well. So what direction would you say I accelerated this van? To the right or to the left?
To the right.
Yes, because matter reacts to the acceleration. Not only does it show you the minute I applied the acceleration, it shows you the direction that I accelerated as well. So real quick, I did it in a smaller scale with a water bottle, with a ping pong ball, and a steel ball. Again, same
Like this?
principles. Yes, like this, for example. So what direction would you say I accelerated here?
To the left.
To the left, exactly. So again, I can demonstrate that in real time. Look, if you, obviously this is a buoyant object. If I accelerate in this direction, what direction the ball is going to get?
That way.
Yes, it gets pushed in that direction of the force. So that's what we'll call buoyancy.
Yeah.
You know, so real quick, out of these 2 here, again, a container filled with water with a ping pong ball and a steel ball. I only accelerated one of these 2 down, like this, physically with my hand. Which one would you say I accelerated down? The one on the left or the one on the right?
The one on the right.
Which one did I accelerate down, would you say?
Who did you accelerate down?
Yeah,
But then you go like this.
yeah, the one on the right.
The one on the
Exactly, because that one shows change. You know, it got physically accelerated down. The one on the left, however, you guys believe if I was holding it like this and just released it into free fall, it didn't accelerate, just free fall. Do you guys believe gravity pulled it down to the earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So the one on the left was actually free fall. That's exactly what I did. I just released it into free fall, but we see matter didn't react to that acceleration. So I don't know if you guys knew gravity is just a theory. So the pulling force of gravity has never been physically measured. Or
Here, why don't we do
proven.
that right now?
What?
Why don't we test your theory right now? Let's go. Let's
Yeah,
test it.
well, you can do this yourself, but yeah, you're gonna need a ping pong ball and a steel ball and put it into free fall, and you're gonna see that they're gonna stay in the relative positions. They're not gonna change.
Well, you know that's because the ping pong ball is floating above the water.
Yes.
Or like the ping pong ball is more buoyant, so it's going to stick to the top, and then the steel ball will stay on the ground because of gravity. You know that, right?
Yeah, but when I physically accelerate it, we get that inversion.
Yeah.
But why is it free fall? They're claiming a 9.8 meters per second acceleration. Why doesn't that happen? Because that's fast acceleration. That's 32 feet per second. That's 22 miles per hour in 1 second from 0.
It's because like when you're pulling it down, it's because when you're pulling it down, right?
When I actually accelerate it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're actually, I forgot what I was saying. Anyways, where are you going with this?
So here's the thing. The reason why gravity is just a theory, again, is because it has never been physically measured. And that's why Einstein came out with his theory of relativity to just give an explanation to why this happens. So the explanation is that everything's being accelerated down equally. That's what they say. But that kind of force that can affect all matter equally without any effects of acceleration doesn't exist. So if we understand buoyancy always follows the direction of the force, and that can be demonstrated here on Earth.
But wait. Do you have a steel ball on? Do you not have a steel ball?
I don't have a steel ball, but I did this myself. You can do this yourself if you want as well. Matter's not going to react in free fall. So here's the thing. buoyancy, right, shows us the direction of the force every single time because the medium, obviously being more dense, is able to push the less dense object.
Okay.
If I have a helium balloon here on Earth and I let it go, what direction does it go?
I understand it now. I get it. When you, there's a flaw in your logic. Okay,
sure.
So when you drop it,
Yes.
all of the items are in free fall.
Yes.
They fall continuously at the same speed. But when
I
you're
mean,
pulling it down,
it's accelerating per
when
second.
you accelerate it,
It's accelerating
But
per
when
second. Supposedly.
no, that's your flaw. It's no.
Well, it's nine-
but
it's
it's
9.8
accelerating
meters
at
per
the same
second per
speed.
second.
But when you take it like this, like look at the water, like it goes down. That's because you're accelerating. You're accelerating the bottle. You're not accelerating it all at once.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the issue.
That kind of force that they're claiming is happening in free fall. In other words, acceleration without any effects
No,
of
no, no.
acceleration.
Look,
Because when you
gravity works because it's all falling at the same speed at the same time. But when you're pulling it down, you're pulling the bottle down.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not pulling the stuff inside the bottle down.
Yeah, that's the explanation. Yeah, sure. But here's the thing: physics shows for a buoyant object to move, the medium that surrounds it has to be able to push it. But in order for that push to happen, that medium has to be moving in that same direction through space.
But the issue is gravity interacts the same with all objects. But when you're pulling it down, you're only
Yeah.
interacting with one at a time.
So what you're doing there is special pleating. So matter only reacts different in free fall, but in every other scenario, matter will react how it should. But in free fall, it's the only exception. That's what we will call special pleating. So that kind of force that they're claiming is happening in free fall that can accelerate matter equally doesn't exist. And how do we know that? Again, if we understand physics and buoyancy, a helium balloon goes up. Why do you think it goes up?
Because it's lighter than everything.
Yes, it's lighter than the air around it. So the air is pushing up the helium balloon, right? And we understand matter doesn't have the ability to just move itself or push itself. So again, the helium relies on the air to be able to push it up, but what's pushing up the air? Because the air is inanimate as well, just like the helium. So what's pushing up the air to be able to push up the helium?
Well, you don't need to push up the air. Okay.
In order for it to be able to push helium up, the air also has to be moving up. That's the only way it would work. Because they're telling us gravity's pulling the air down, right?
No,
But-
the air is neutrally buoyant.
No, but what's sticking? What makes the air stick to the Earth? Why doesn't it disperse into space?
Yeah.
Exactly. They're telling us gravity, a pulling force, is pulling the air down.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's neutrally buoyant. Do you know what neutrally buoyant means?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's staying in the same place.
Sure, air within itself, sure. But when you put something that's less dense than air, it's going to start to move in a particular direction. Why doesn't the helium balloon go left or right? Why does it go up? Because the air is more dense regardless, but why does the helium balloon have direction? Why up? Why not left, down, or down? Or right or down? Why up? That's because the air is also moving up through space. So here's the...
air is just more dense near the surface of the Earth and less dense near the top.
Yeah, sure.
So there's the gradient.
Yeah, there is a gradient, exactly. Do you know what's creating that gradient? Why is there a gradient? What do you think?
Because gravity is pulling the air down.
It's actually pushing the air up. So the air pushing, for example, so when I accelerate in this direction, I create a pressure gradient in this direction. So the more dense goes towards the back of the force, and the less dense goes away from the force.
But
So the less dense air that's on top is the furthest away from the force. So the force of the Earth is a push, and the less dense is the furthest away from it. And that's why less dense objects go up, because it's the Earth that's pushing up the air, that's pushing up the helium or any lighter gases for that matter.
So, what are you trying to get
So
at?
my thing is, because gravity, they admit that it's just a theory, a pulling force of gravity has never been detected or measured. The fact is, when you release an object into free fall, it's not the object that moves down to the Earth, it's the Earth that moves up to the object. And the reason why this appears to go down is due to inertia. It's just being left behind. So you could think of the Earth as a giant elevator, and we're all inside of it, and it's literally moving up. So that's what's happening right now. The Earth is pushing up against your feet. You're not being pulled down towards the Earth. So that's what's happening in reality.
So you're saying the world's flat?
No. So here's the thing. So you guys believe the Earth is a ball, right?
Yeah. The
If
Earth
we
is a
could
sphere.
prove physically, which again buoyancy shows us, that the Earth is moving up, right?
But the Earth can't move omnidirectional.
Exactly, that's where I'm going. So if we could prove that the Earth is moving up, how would that? Because up is relative on a ball in every directional way, omnidirectional, right?
Up is
It's relative. It depends where you're
No,
standing.
if you're looking. Okay, yeah.
Up is relative,
but
on
it
a ball.
can't move omnidirectional.
Yeah, exactly. So if we could prove that it's the ground literally pushing up right now and it's not pulling you down, how can the Earth move up in every direction at the same time if it was a ball?
Can't.
It won't, exactly. That would mean he'll have to expand and it just explode. So in order for people to believe in the ball Earth theory, they first have to believe in the theory of gravity being a pulling force, because the facts show that it's a pushing force of the Earth. So that's the force.
Basically, what you're trying to say is, you're vouching for the expanding Earth theory?
No. The Earth is actually a level plane, and there's a huge difference between level and flat. Because flat Earth is a psyop. Over 95% of flat earthers, in my opinion, online are wrong. And the fact is, because over 95% of flat earthers claim the Earth is motionless. So they completely deny that Earth exerts a force. Their explanation is even worse. Like they don't even have an explanation. So flat earthers are even dumber, in my opinion.
The issue is your logic, like, it's not concrete. Like, how do you lay a ball flat on a level plane?
The Earth is not a ball. The Earth is a level surface. What it looks like as a whole from like outside, nobody has that view.
Okay, so this is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so the Earth is a level plane, and it's level because a level is an orientation. And in order to have an orientation, you require a force. So the only thing is the force is a push, not a pull.
You're just saying the Earth is flat, but
it's level. It's a huge difference, because you could have a flat wall. This is flat, right? But it's not level. Level is a horizontal orientation.
So you're saying
perpendicular
the Earth
to the
is
vertical.
flat, but it's horizontally flat.
It's horizontal, you could say, not flat. Because again, horizontal is an orientation.
No,
Earth
you
has
just-
orientation. I mean, flat. The definition of flat, first of all, is a surface without any bumps or indents. The Earth obviously has hills and valleys and mountains, so it's not flat.
Okay, wait. Let's go to this on a bigger scale.
Sure.
How do you explain, like the galaxy, like staying together?
Yeah.
Or, like,
So you're
how
talking
do-
about the universe outside of the
No,
Earth.
let's just start with the solar system.
Okay,
How do you
solar
explain
system.
this?
So the solar system, the
Yeah.
heliocentric model is what they call it, which is the idea that the Earth revolves around the sun. That is just made up. So we observe,
Okay,
we
so-
observe
So
the sun
even more
moving.
logical fallacies now?
We observe the sun moving, right?
Yeah.
They just assuming that, oh, the sun's not moving. We're spinning and rotating around it, and the sun's stationary relative to us. The reality is actually the sun's moving up above us. So the sun's really small in comparison to the Earth. So it just moves around.
I see
the
what
Earth.
you're trying to say.
Yeah, the sun just moves around the Earth, and it's very tiny, and it just illuminates parts of the Earth at the same time.
Okay, wait. What about this?
Yes, 100%. Even globe believers will admit to that. But their explanation would be, oh, we faked it because we wanted to beat Russia to the moon. So we wanted to be the first ones there, so that's why we faked it. But the real reason why they faked it is because they want to lie to us about what the Earth actually is. That's the real
Wait.
reason. Sure.
So, if the Earth is a level plane, it can't have any curvature, correct?
Yes.
So then how do you explain all of the tests
What test?
in which... Okay, wait. Let's see. You know what the Burj Khalifa is?
What?
The Burj Khalifa. Do you know what the Burj Khalifa is?
No, explain it to me.
Okay, the Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world.
Okay, tallest building in the world.
And at the Burj Khalifa, the difference between the sunset from the bottom to the top is 2 minutes.
Yes.
Now, without curvature of the Earth, how do you explain that?
Perspective.
Perspective.
So we do have a limit to angular limits of how far we can see. So the light entering your eye, there is an angular limit to how far that light's able to enter your eye. So when you're on the ground and you have a sunset, that angle of light's not able to enter your eye. But as soon as you elevate, then you're increasing your angle of view. So you're able to see the sun because the light's able to enter your eye again.
So
it's all
what you're
due to
saying
perspective.
is... Wait, how
going
close
out of-
is the sun?
I don't know exactly how
Okay,
close.
but you're saying the sun's pretty close.
Yes.
Okay, let's say I had a pretty powerful flashlight.
Yes.
Like, what is it? How far do you think the sun will?
No more than 10,000 miles.
I mean,
would say
that's
less.
okay. So like,
It's not 93 million miles.
so you
that's
think
for
the
sure.
sun is about the same distance away from the Earth as you would say one point is from the other?
Sure. But here's the thing. I know you're trying to see like, okay, that's measurable curvature, right? Because we can't see the sun, and then we elevate.
Yes, that is.
I'm gonna give, because that's just a visual measurement, which is not a physical measurement. I'm gonna show you a physical measurement that will show there is no curvature.
Wait. What about stars? Like, can you explain this in your theory?
Okay.
This is actually kind of interesting.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
I know it's all wrong, but like.
So here, let me show you.
It's interesting.
Before
I
we
want to
talk
see
about
your
stars,
logic. I want to see your logic.
Before we get to stars, I'll get into the second proof that debunks the globe, because the number one proof is that the pulling force of gravity doesn't exist. It's a pushing force of the Earth.
Okay.
That wouldn't work with the globe, like you said. You can't move up omnidirectionally because it wouldn't work. So that's the number one proof that debunks the globe. But if you want a number two proof, you know the radius of the Earth?
No, I do not know the radius.
3,959 miles. That's what the radius of the Earth would tell us, right? So based on the radius, obviously we multiply that times 2, we get the diameter. And if we multiply that times pi, we get the circumference. So the circumference of the Earth that they tell us is 24,901 miles. So based on the size of the Earth they're telling us, there has to be curvature every mile. And every mile that curvature has to increase because it's a ball, right? It's pointing. So you understand the Pythagorean theorem?
The curvature is the same at every point.
No, it increases the more you, from the starting point, if you were to measure the curvature from the starting point, it increases. Yeah, as you can see, the gap increases right here.
But from any relative point, it's all the same.
When you're starting, yes, it's the same whenever you start. But if you keep going out in a straight line, the curvature gets more predominant. You can see it here visually. It gets more predominant the further out you go from the starting point. So you're familiar with the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared, it's very easy, elementary. So using this simple calculation, we just, r squared plus the length you're measuring squared gives you the drop. You're able to calculate how much curvature there should be in it. So the curvature formula is 8 inches per mile squared. So that means in the first mile, there should be an 8-inch curve. Second mile, there should be 32 inches. And by the third mile, there should be 6 feet of measurable curvature. That's only in 3 miles. So how do we measure for this curvature, right? It's a very easy way to do it. So if we went out to a giant lake that was miles across with water, for example, and we physically measured a level structure above the body of water, the water is going to be parallel to anything horizontal above it, because that's how water does. When water's contained and at rest, the surface is always level. That's why it's water level. They're trying to tell us that the surface of water curves and it's not level. So they're telling us that it curves 6 feet in 3 miles. So they're trying to tell us at the starting point, there's
wait, can you pull up a calculator real quick and just show me on the map?
Oh, you could take a picture of this.
No. Pull up a calculator and show me the map. Because, this is interesting, but you can't just
So a squared plus b, I did this all in a calculator to get these measurements. So in 10 miles, there should be 66 feet of curvature. So if we had a lake...
What are you taking?
So again, if we had a lake that was 10 miles across, which there's plenty here on Earth, and we extended the level structure 10 miles, the difference in height between the starting point and the end point should be 66 feet. So there should be a 60-foot gap increase from the starting point to the end point, which is physically impossible because water doesn't have the ability to maintain a shape on the surface. When water's contained like this in a cup, or the surface always forms a level surface. It's always, that's the physics of water, whether on a lake or even in the oceans. So you guys heard of the term sea level, right? Sea level?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's level meaning horizontal, because that's what level means.
No, but it's relative.
Well, it's not relative, it's physics. Water being level, it's physics, it's not relative. It's not an idea, it's not a theory, it's a fact. Now they're trying to tell us...
Wait, do you have like... do you know surface tension? You know what surface tension is, right?
It happens in a very minute scale, sure. But when we're talking about large bodies of water, like a pool or a lake, you're not going to have that surface tension.
No, but I'm saying the same principle, or not like same exactly, but it proves that water can be at a dip.
Sure, the edges could maybe rise a little bit.
Also, the Earth is not a perfect surface.
Yeah, they're telling us
it's not a perfect sphere.
Yeah, an oblate spheroid. It doesn't matter. They're still claiming a circle, regardless, which has to have curvature. That curvature should be measurable.
Yeah,
but there's elevation.
So small.
Well, it's not small. It's 6 feet and 3 miles. 6 feet and 3 miles should be measurable, in my opinion.
Right.
66 feet, which is a 6-story building. I don't even think these buildings are 6 stories. It's like double that one. Now imagine that much curvature over a 10-mile distance. That should be measurable. And it's not.
No.
Sorry?
You said the Earth rises upwards, correct?
Yes. That's gravity. That's what gravity is.
So the whole point of gravity is that things are being pulled down.
Yes, it's the Earth pushing up.
So it's just the Earth pushing upwards.
Yes.
How does that explain the tides, the satellites, and all this different stuff?
So I like that you brought up the tides, because I get a lot of hate for talking about this, but
I can tell why.
Did you know?
Why don't we follow the moon's rotation also?
No. So the tides, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that the tides is the horizontal movement of water that's happening? So the tide goes in and out, right? So the surface of water is being reoriented. So in my opinion, the tides show that the Earth is not moving up in a perfectly straight line. So there's a slight deviation of the Earth moving up And the tides show that because the water's reoriented relative to the direction of the vertical. Which
So
is
if the Earth was constantly moving upwards and there's no constant gravity, then how would we explain the mechanism of how like the Earth stays in orbit with the other planets?
Well, this whole idea of outer space, for example, like everything about outer space is all CGI.
Oh, it's all CGI.
Yeah, it's all CGI.
Oh yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's all CGI. It's all done in the computer, and all the images from Earth that they show us from space, they all NASA, for example, they admit they make them in the computer. So it's not even a debate.
Can you like show me proof of that, please?
Well, you can look it up. I'm not here to like spoon feed every answer, but you could do that in your free time. I'm just here to focus on physics.
Can you show me the calculations?
So I mean, we could do them if you want. Like I mean,
wait.
It's gonna take away. It's like you have to multiply the radius squared times the length squared.
Okay, the radius of the Earth.
Yeah, 39.
The radius of the Earth is.
Let's do it in miles.
3,963 miles.
No, just 3,959. That's the radius.
Whatever. It's
and then multiply it times itself, because that will be a squared. You're gonna have to write it down, because now you're gonna have to get b squared, which will be the length. So we can measure 3 miles, for example.
The curvature of the. The flaw in your logic here is it's the curvature of the Earth is continuous. Okay, if it dropped off without consistency, instead of looking like this, it would look more like that. It would just go straight. It would just go straight down. Eventually.
That's why it's square, because it comes back around. It has to be square because it has to.
But it's not exponential. That's the issue.
What do you think the curvature is if not 8 inches per mile squared?
No, it is. It's 8 inches per mile. But it's not 8 inches per mile squared. That's the issue.
Here's the thing. If it was just 8 inches per mile, that would just create a slope. If you just subtract 8 inches in the first mile, then another 8 inches in the second mile, and then another 8, that would just create a pyramid. That would just create a slope of an 8-inch drop every mile.
What?
No, I was just waiting for him to finish so I can go back to the.
No, let me ask you this.
You can go back whenever.
Let me ask you this real quick. I know before you go. What's the #1 proof that makes you believe the Earth is a ball? Why do you believe the Earth is a ball? Let me ask.
That's a difficult question, because there's just like so many more than all the things you're saying.
No,
like half the things you're saying.
Just give me one.
Are just implied.
Why do you believe it? I mean, there's so many, right? But just give me one.
Or what's it called? Like the gyroscopic measurements. Like here, just take that, because that's like
gyroscope. So you're saying that?
No. I forget exactly what it's called, but there are these 2 like flat earthers a while back.
Sure. By the way, most flat earthers online are gatekeepers. Just a heads up. They're no different than the globe. You know, and I'm gonna tell you why they're no different than the globe.
Okay.
Over 95% of flat earthers online claim the Earth is motionless, so they completely deny the fact that the Earth exerts a force. So they have no explanation to why matter moves and why we have a motion vector. Okay. So they believe that because the Earth is motionless, when you release an object, they believe too that it accelerates down towards the Earth by some magical force that cannot be measured. Okay. So they're no different than the globe Earth. They're defending the globe Earth theory by saying that because that's the only thing the globe Earth has is an explanation due to gravity. How do we get night and day? Oh, it's gravity. Well, how do things not fall from the ball? Oh, it's gravity. Well, how do everything is gravity? So they rely on this idea of gravity being a pulling force, which in reality is a pushing force. So all of these flat earthers online will go against me because I'm actually speaking the truth. So a lot of these flat earthers are controlled opposition. I just stick to physics. I don't care what the Earth is at the end of the day.
All right.
Good question.
Yes.
So you said the tides move horizontally, right?
The tides are horizontal relative to the vertical, which is the force of the Earth.
Okay, so if the moon, do you think the moon exerts a force which causes the tides?
No, the moon is just a light. Nobody knows exactly what it is.
If the moon were to disappear tomorrow, as through like a hypothetical, then the tides would not be affected whatsoever.
No.
As it would not.
No, the moon has nothing to do with the tides. No.
So you think the moon doesn't exert any force whatsoever?
No, not to affect the tides for sure, and not any force whatsoever. Here's the thing: the moon, they say. People have done measurements, not myself, so I wouldn't say 100%, but the moon supposedly exerts a cold light. So when you're in the moon shade, it's warmer than in direct moonlight. So it's the opposite of the sun. So people have done tests with thermometers in water, for example.
But
so
I don't understand if the Earth was constantly moving.
So that's the only thing.
How did that make sense with relativity?
No, what do you mean?
Like, at some point, wouldn't it be moving like near light speed? Because of relativity?
You talking about the Earth?
Yes.
No, so in my opinion, the Earth is moving in some kind of...
okay, no, don't say my opinion. Like,
well, it is my opinion because I can't prove this part. I know that it's pushing up, But how exactly it's moving, I don't know. But I do have a theory that the Earth is not moving in a straight line and it's moving in some kind of cycle. So that's why we never reach the speed of light, in my opinion, is because it's a constant acceleration due to a constant change in direction.
But doesn't that contradict what you said? Because you said the Earth was only moving upwards, but now you're saying it
Well,
moves
relative to us, it's moving up.
Yeah,
but because the tides show that there's a slight deviation of that
so you're not
upwards.
saying it moves on your direction. I'm very confused with what you're saying.
Yeah, it's moving up relative to us, but what exactly the motion is outside, I don't know exactly how that motion is.
So it's moving on in direction.
Not omnidirectional. Something could be moving, for example, straight like this, or it could have a slight deviation, moving some kind of cycle, you know. And relative to us, that's always up.
So that's
because it changes direction.
So that's your theory on why we don't reach the speed of light.
That's my theory why we don't reach the speed of light, and the theory to why the tides happen as well. Because water reacts to a force, and it's perpendicular relative to the direction of the force. So if there's a shift in the ocean water, the tides, for example, that shows me that the Earth is not moving in a straight line. Because if it was moving in a straight line, we wouldn't have tides.
Okay, wait.
Then why is there like less of this force being exerted on the moon rather than the Earth?
Well, the moon, everything about the heliocentric model about the Earth pulling the moon into its orbit and all that's all made up. Nobody's actually seen that.
I wanna ask you.
Yes.
So if the Earth,
so you think the moon landing is completely fake?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, he said that many times already.
I even told them that even globe earthers will admit to that moon landing being fake, but their explanation is that we faked it because we were just trying to beat Russia, so that's why we faked it. But the real reason is because they want us to believe the Earth is a ball.
Okay, wait.
That's
I got a question for you.
Yes. Yes.
So, you're saying the Earth has two like end points, pretty much, right?
Yeah, the Earth is not infinite.
Where would the points be?
In my opinion, again, because I can't prove this, the governments have found the end of the Earth, I would say, right? I would say there's like some kind of container keeping the air pressure here on Earth. So nobody's been outside of that.
Okay.
So who knows what that looks like? I don't know.
In this direction,
Yes, you reach the end.
I would not come back to here.
No, 100%. If you just went in a straight line in any direction, you'll never come back to the same spot. Nobody's actually done that, actually, physically.
Okay.
About like the flights.
You're talking about east and west, right?
Sure.
Flight, circumnavigation. So circumnavigation relies on the North Pole, which is just a center point, in my opinion. So if this was the Earth, for example, and the North was right here, right? We'll say this is the North. So if a compass is pointing north all the time, right? So if you went east and west, let's say you went west, you're going to start to make a circle around the center point. So you just come back to the same spot because you're making a circle around the north. So that would work on a level Earth as well. So that doesn't prove anything.
Okay.
Circumnavigation, in other words.
Oh wait, by the way, I've got like a good thing for you to like add if you ever want to like do the you have a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you ever want to do this, like if people ask about flight paths, you could always just tell them the one person who flew to the end of the Earth was Amelia Earhart and she went missing.
Okay.
Yeah, you could tell people that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'll say it, but it doesn't prove anything still at the end of the day. Physics.
Well, but that's just as sound as the rest of your logic, so...
No, because I'm showing physics, practical physics. You're telling me stories now. That's different. So that's what the globe Earth offers. They just offer baseless stories. I offer physics and how matter behaves. Water, when contained at rest, cannot form a hump on the surface. And that's what they're trying to tell us that the Earth is doing with water. It's making it curve, but that's physically impossible.
Okay, wait. So, if the Earth is accelerating upward, like you say, right?
Pushing up, sure.
Yeah. How is the water contained, like, within an ocean? Can you explain that to me?
Well, the oceans are like a crater. So the water is simply just filling the void, and then the surface...
So then how are there places like... how are there places that are below sea level, like right next to the sea, and they don't get, like...
Yeah, because there's probably
flooded?
mountains that prevent the sea from overflowing.
Also,
and stuff
how does rain happen then?
Oh,
well, rain.
So rain, obviously, clouds form, obviously, because there's lighter gases, evaporate and create condensation, right? So they seek their equilibrium because the air is the more dense air below is pushing up the less dense air. That's creating clouds.
Okay.
Then once you gather a lot of moisture, then it becomes more dense. Then that's how you get basically rain. It just becomes more dense, and then the Earth just comes up again. So I know a lot of people think rain falls down, but we're moving up to the rain, and then it's just being left behind because it's more dense. So the water.
I see.
Yeah.
So let's say we have like the Earth like
Ooh,
this.
he's pulling up Desmos. I should have done that earlier.
And say if it's just like a circle, kind of like this represents, and you're saying that the water wouldn't be level here because there's this measure.
That's what the globe Earth claims, yes.
Right. So if you have a circle like this that kind of represents this, and you zoom up on it close enough, and it just looks like a flat line.
Right.
Say that gravity is like the globe earthers say, how it just pulls down. Then why wouldn't the water just pull down over the straight line.
Well, first of all, that idea relies on the idea of gravity being a pulling force, which could be easily debunked. That's why I say that that's the number one proof that debunks the globe Earth, because they rely on gravity to explain everything, which is just a theory, it's not real. If we could prove that it's the other way around and it's the Earth moving up, then the whole globe Earth model falls apart, even on paper. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah. So again, that's why these motionless flat earthers are like Democrats versus Republicans with the globe, because they're both being
So
controlled
you're
by the
saying
same
both parties are wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, respectfully, I'm gonna ask you to cut that out of your video. Like, if you post this, cut that out just for your own sake.
Wait, the fact that they're both wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are both wrong. They both believe that objects accelerate down by some magical force which doesn't exist.
Never mind.
The fact is, it's the Earth pushing up, and that's why there's so much hate towards me. Even from I get more hate from flat earthers, by the way, than globers, because I'm actually exposing their model as well. I'm exposing the mainstream flat Earth as well, which is false.
Okay.
Again, the main thing is that they flip the force of the Earth. It's not a pull; it's a push. That's it. That's how easy it is to debunk the globe, and that's why there's so much hate and so much ridicule on this subject, because it is the number one censored subject, and that's how they're censoring it, by just mocking it.
So then how does the government tie into this? Why wouldn't they just tell us if they found the end?
Why don't they want us to know this?
First of all, in my opinion, I think a lot of people wouldn't be able to handle that truth.
They wouldn't be able to comprehend.
Yeah,
it.
they'll probably go crazy, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Think about it. Imagine thinking about.
Why would they care if the Earth was level?
Well, here's the thing. Do you accept that a lot of religions are out there just to control people? Would you
so that's
agree?
a whole nother conspiracy.
Well, no. The globe Earth concept, it's a religion, because it's all based on faith. So it's all about gaining people's trust. So once you get people's trust about what this place actually is and lie to people what this place is, then you're able to control what they're going to do here now. If you're able to convince people what this place is, then you're going to be able to control what they do here as well. So again, even it affects our whole livelihood, in other words. Because believing in the globe Earth as a child and growing up as an adult with that same belief shows that you mentally didn't develop to trust your own common sense. Yeah, this is common sense stuff.
What if somebody believed this and they wanted to disprove that the Earth was a globe, so they did a circumnavigation?
Well, that to me doesn't prove either or. Like I said, you could have circumnavigation on a globe or a level
so
Earth.
What if they went away from the North Pole and out the
south?
opposite
Nobody,
south?
the globe Earth has never done that.
Okay, so what if somebody did who wanted to?
That would be interesting. I'll be open to.
Can you explain to me? Are you about to say Antarctica is an ice wall?
No, I don't know what Antarctica is.
So despite there are people
I don't know where it is geographically on the Earth. They're going to an ice continent, definitely. I don't know where that ice continent is relative to all the other continents and how it looks.
Oh, I've got another thing for you.
So that doesn't prove anything.
Okay. Do you trust compasses?
Sure.
Okay.
They point north. Sure. Did you know that compasses don't work the further south you go, like 66 degrees south, parallel? The compasses don't work anymore.
Okay,
I don't know
but
if you knew that.
That's not what I'm trying to get at. Okay. So, I'm pointing straight west right now. Okay.
Sure.
So, if I kept going along a line straight west, and you're saying that north is just a center point.
Yes.
Let's say I sent out, let's say I just kept walking this way.
Yeah.
Would that not end up putting north all the way back there?
I don't know if you guys knew sailors back in the day had to readjust every so often to their compass, because they will start going in a different direction. So they do adjust every I don't know how long. I'm not a sailor myself, but it is documented that sailors back in the day had to adjust every 6 hours or so, because they're going around the center point.
Okay, but say you just go straight off in this direction.
Yeah.
So that would leave north.
Yeah, but that's why they autocorrect. They always autocorrect.
No, wait. But I'm trying to get at.
Sure.
So say this is north, and you're starting completely parallel from north.
Yes.
If you just kept going in this direction,
you eventually go south.
Now, how would that work?
Well, that could work on a level Earth as well. It works. Well, that works on a level Earth. That will happen in reality, because that's what the Earth is a level plane. If you were just going straight on a globe, for example, let's say you have a ball, right?
Yeah.
And north is up here, and you just went a straight line this way, then technically you should never have to readjust, because you're just going in a straight line and you'll just come back.
So the
you
proof you're using that we have to readjust is because sailors do it, and yet you've never talked to a sailor about this?
Well, there's documentation. Again, I'm not a sailor myself. That's why I don't focus on things like that, because I've never done it myself. But I understand how water behaves. I understand that.
No, but say I'm on a like just complete land. If I only head west, like I just keep heading west, that should mean that effectively north would just become straight behind.
Yes, eventually.
Are you guys still talking?
Yeah.
What are they talking about now?
Oh, he's talking about how sailors, they have to like readjust their compass because after a certain bit it like
when they go west,
it's wrong.
Yeah, they eventually have to readjust to keep going west.
You said that Earth moves constantly up at its hill, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Well, a very slight scale. Yeah, very slight, I would say.
Okay, then what force is exerting that's pulling the oceans to the side that changes?
Look at his eyelashes. Look at how long they are.
Well, the reorientation of the
his
container.
eyelashes are so long.
So the Earth is the container.
I want to cut them off.
So because the Earth is not moving in a straight line, in my opinion, again, you can prove that, but based on how water. Yeah, so the water just reorientates.
Explain how we have two tides one day instead of one.
I have a master key.
Well, it's just the way the tides happen. You know?
No, but what's causing those tides?
Well, it's in my opinion, again, it's the reorientation of the Earth's vector.
Okay, it's moving constantly.
It's so hard for you to get you to admit anything.
It's constantly moving in a slight tilt, like you just said, correct?
Yeah, in my opinion.
And we have two different tides, right?
Well, it's two tides that happen every day, sure. Yes. I mean, I don't know.
So what's exerting the force?
It's the reorientation. So water cannot, it's not glued to the Earth. The water's not glued to the Earth.
Then why do we have one high tide and then we have one low tide?
Yeah, it's simple. So here's the thing. So if we had a body of water here, right? And then the Earth wasn't moving in a straight line, eventually the water, it's going to be higher at one end than it is on the other until it levels out again. And then it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again. It's because it's continuous. It's a cycle. That's why it happens twice a day, because the Earth is in a cycle.
What about the GPS and satellites? Like, you know how we have
how does
GPS? How we have satellites and GPS set up and those with that. Why is it that when the Earth is constantly moving on its tilt, why don't we just leave those GPS and satellites behind and that they're just sticking towards us for some odd unconventional
So
reason?
GPS, it's actually ground positioning system because over 97% of communication here on Earth is done through undersea cables. I don't know if you knew that. You can look that up. So all of the internet that we use here, every communication, 97% of that is underground, undersea cables.
And how is their satellite image?
So all of those images are emitted CGI. So they're not real photographs of the Earth.
So you just think everything.
Well, I don't just think that. They admit it. Not only that, those images defy physics.
Okay, wait.
So if you're saying in the 1960s that 500,000 people that worked for Apollo to do the whole thing, that it was completely fake, and that when the USSR, who were the clear enemies of America, would have loved to expose America for faking the moon landing, they just decided to congratulate them instead.
And then they faked it themselves. So they're working together.
I think you're just rejecting reality.
Are they working together because of oil?
Have you heard of the UN, the United Nations?
Yeah, I know the United Nations.
What do you think that is? Like, why are all the nations working together when it comes, But we're enemies, but the UN exists. We're against Russia, but then they're part of the UN as well.
Yeah, because the whole idea of the UN is so we can stop the war in general.
Exactly. So they're all working together. Is my point.
Wait, but why is it that we're in the most tense area, 1960, right before the Cold War was about to happen, and then just USSR decides to congratulate the US when they had the slightest proof that they just
because they were working together since then.
So you're saying
that is the most insane claim I've ever seen.
But you're getting into conspiracy theories now.
So that the USSR worked with America before the Cold War.
Yeah.
So the USSR worked with America. That's what we're doing, right?
Well, I would say all governments are working together, whether you want to label them differently,
So the Cold War was a hoax.
Shit did happen, but the motives why it happened are not what they're saying.
So you're just projecting reality because why would the Cold War to begin with if the USSR and America were working together?
Like I said, the Cold War. I don't know if you knew, governments make money off of war, so that's why they make wars happen. Did you know that? I don't know if you guys knew that. There's a lot of money that goes into war, and there's a lot of money that they make just for declaring war. So it was just a money grab as well, pushing these wars. So the poor people die, and the rich people just get rich. That's what wars are. That's what wars do.
That has got to be probably. Honestly, that's a win for me. That's a win for me.
If that proves the globe for you, then
for me, it just sees that like you're just pulling.
You're just talking about conspiracy theories. I'm talking about physics.
You're on conspiracy.
No, this is physics.
The physics part I'm completely fine for. The physics part, I think you have a good take on it. Like,
do I
agree with it completely? No. But am I able to argue it because I'm like 15 and I don't have like all the information that you've learned before? No. So I'm not physically capable of arguing. Like, how old are you in comparison to me?
I'm 33.
Yeah, you're 33. So you're twice my age.
Wholly unemployed.
So you're
No,
twice
I have
my
a job. I have my own business.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I respect that, of course. But of course, I'm 15, so I'm not able to really argue in such a capacity that you can. So I can only argue this thing. But
Trust me, I wish I could do this full time.
But what I can say though is I don't think based off what I know and what I've learned and what I've been taught and the events that have been proven to happen in the past, I don't think America worked with the Soviet Union because that would completely.
I would say that's just your opinion, and I respect your opinion, but it's not fact. You can't prove that. Just like I can't prove that they did work together, you can't prove to me that they didn't work together. So that's irrelevant when it comes to the physics of the Earth.
So they're just bombing each other because they
I don't
work
know.
together.
At the end of the day, if I'm being honest, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Okay.
That just sounds like a clear rejected reality.
I would say you're just blindly believing what you're told.
No, because why would we just bomb each other? Question: If I
There's
just
plenty of reasons.
Question: Why would let's say I know you, right? Yeah. Let's say we were friends. If I bombed your house, very very crazy analogy, right?
Yeah.
Let's say I bombed your house, right? We're friends, right?
Well, here's the thing. At the very top, they are friends. It's the people underneath
No,
that
but
are taking
just
advantage.
focus on my analogy right now. If I bombed your house, would you consider me a friend for that?
Well, it depends. You know.
What do you mean it depends?
I mean, if it's just me and you, and there's nobody that we work for above us, then yeah, I would say that obviously that's not.
No, like there's just a clear statement. Okay, just focus on this.
You just know that the people that bomb each other are working for someone else.
Let's just say this.
They're just taking
We
orders.
live in two separate houses. Okay?
Yes.
Forget about everything else. Forget about all the.
It's just me and you.
Forget about all the external things we have to worry about. It's just me and you.
Yeah.
And then I walked over to you. I handed you a pipe bomb. You opened it up and it exploded in your kitchen. Would you consider me your friend for that?
Obviously not. Yeah. But now, let's say you were paid to do that job. Like, I wouldn't consider you an enemy. I would say you're just brainwashed to just take money to do things. You know? That's just my opinion.
And who paid the U.S.?
Well, the armies are not free. They're all getting paid. Even the low-level, army people, even though they get paid shit, but they're still getting paid. It's a job for them.
So
they just take orders.
So you think the millions of people just decided, oh yeah, I know that there's a war going to start, but I want to start the war because I'm going to get a bit of money, but even though I know that...
They use the media to basically change the narrative of why people go to war, so there's a lot of bullshit that they tell us.
It just sounds like you're saying that humans just don't have... Humans objectively don't have morals, that they're just that they just made the entire war to begin with, just purely off the fact of greed, and that people just wanted to kill each other.
Now you're getting somewhere. So the people that run government, for example, or the ones behind the scenes, are definitely not moral, in my opinion. They don't give a fuck about anyone.
That's been known.
They just care about themselves.
That information's been known.
That's obvious.
But I still don't understand why in 1960 would cause literally a massive war where millions of people would die. And
because they don't care
tons
about
of property would be destroyed.
He gets it.
No, okay. So, no.
Hey,
I completely agree with you on the fact. Don't take this out of context.
No, trust me. It's all, I don't edit my videos at all.
Okay. No editing.
No editing.
No, I agree with you on the fact that most people in government, they don't care anything about what. They don't care anything about their people.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially dictators.
Yes.
But what was I going with this? Anyways, I forgot. I agree with you on the fact of that, but the whole thing being one massive conspiracy just to prove your point is crazy.
Would you agree that there are conspiracies that happen? Like, people do work together to take advantage of other people? I mean, that obviously happens, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you know they're not doing that to us at a mass scale?
I mean, okay.
I would say...
But how do we know they would be?
Because physics shows us that they're lying about what they're showing the Earth is.
Another thing, you say everything in the sky is CGI, right?
Well, everything about outer space.
Everything about outer space is CGI.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then how were people Isaac Newton and Galileo looking into the sky and seeing all these stars and figuring out stuff about the Earth before computers are even...
Let me show you what the stars actually look like, because just looking at the stars doesn't prove anything at the end of the day, but here's what the stars actually look like when you zoom into them with a powerful zoom. They're just lights that are twinkling in water. It looks like they're rippling in water. So this is what the planets look like in reality. This is what Mars looks like, which is no different than the regular stars. But this is what NASA shows us, or same thing with Jupiter. So the lights in the sky at the end of the day don't prove anything about the ground we're walking on, but also nobody knows exactly what they are. Like, how are they emanating this light? I don't know. I have no clue.
Have you ever like
This is what they look
have you
like
ever
now.
done this with somebody who's not like a college student or a
done-
high school student?
Astrophysicists, physics professors, regular teachers. I've spoken to all of them, and nobody has a clue to why they believe the globe Earth. They're just blindly teaching what
Wait,
they were
can
taught.
you like pull up your YouTube channel right
Yeah.
there?
Oh yeah, what's your
Yeah.
YouTube channel?
Yeah, you guys can. You guys can take that one if you want. Inside of the 6 top proofs that debunk the globe.
Okay, wait, don't scan it. That's not a good idea.
You're gonna get a virus.
Yeah,
Get a
exactly.
virus on your phone.
Yeah, no.
No, it just takes you directly to my channel. But yeah, you could just put my name, Level-Headed William, on YouTube, and I'll
Okay.
come up.
That's
But here,
a funny
look.
name.
I'll go over this proof right here as well. You guys, have you ever guys heard of Euclidean geometry? Euclidean geometry? Yeah? So Euclidean geometry basically shows that we build everything on a level surface.
Alright.
So we don't use spherical geometry when we're laying down railroads, for example. Or we're-
Oh, you're live?
Yeah, I'm live right now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So,
Alright. Oh, there's 35 people watching.
yeah, so by the way, my channel is super censored, like super censored. So all these fake flat earthers that are claiming the earth is motionless, there's a lot of channels that have over 100,000 subs and shit like that, but it's just to give a false perception, you know,
Okay,
of the
okay.
truth. But
Alright.
yes,
By the way, if
yeah, definitely.
I don't give you any consent to use this footage on YouTube besides the stream, okay? So I do not give you consent to upload anything.
You approach to begin with. You have a lot of consent to upload because of how
Exactly.
it all works. You know that, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Hey, you're able to see yourself, man.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
good
No,
thing.
Hi,
It's a-
YouTube.
There you go. And I like that you know the law.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that, but
No, I love.
you're familiar with First Amendment audits?
You can post me. What'd you say?
You familiar with First Amendment audits?
First Amendment audits.
They're on YouTube. They're kind of big.
I don't like those guys.
Oh, no, they are kind of
Here.
pushy for sure.
They're kind of pushy.
Yeah, but
you
they're just exercising that First Amendment right of
Yeah,
recording in public.
they're just guys that just know that they can get away with it. But if they came to if a guy just kept coming,
Well, it
up to
depends
me-
who you watch too, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that are combative, but there's a lot of people that are kind of chill like me as well. So it just depends who you watch.
Can you not use like the front camera for me?
I'll think about it, but this was a really good conversation.
Hey,
believe it or not, you've given me way more than even the physics professors did. You know what I'm saying? Like you're actually pretty smart.
I think I gave decent
Thank you.
information.
No, huh?
I think I gave decent information.
No, yeah, definitely. This was a really good conversation, believe it or not. Most conversations, most people just feel awkward and just walk away, or they'll feel some type of way and they just walk away. I like
Fair
that
enough.
you guys stood
Are
your
you
ground.
Are you gonna be here for like much longer?
No,
Or
so I'm probably gonna be packing it up. I usually stay around 2 hours, so probably
Alright.
like 5 more minutes. But I do go to USC a lot. My favorite school
USC?
to go is UCR. I go to UCR a lot, and I've gone to UC Irvine as well. This is my first time here, by the way. So it was really good for it being summer, because I know, and UCR is pretty empty during summer classes, but right here is like, oh shit, it's still packed. So I might be coming here more often.
It's
so.
it's a pretty big campus.
Yeah, it is. It's huge. I noticed that. But no, yeah, trust me. You did really good. Trust me. Believe it or not.
I think the only
I
issue
respect-
the only issue I have with First Amendment audits, though, is that they're constantly following somebody. Because there's a difference between saying, "Oh, I'm exercising my First Amendment audit just by being here and speaking," but if you're constantly approaching that person when they ask, like, think about this. Let's say you're let's say you're approaching somebody at a subway saying, "Oh, I'm exercising my First Amendment right," when they ask you to leave and that you're disrupting work and that you're just harassing them, and then you're saying, "I know, but I'm exercising my First Amendment right." No, that's just harassment. That's not.
No,
that's
yeah.
not,
Now you're
just
disturbing the peace.
Now you're
at one
disturbing the
point,
peace,
in
and
a
now
way.
you're just harassing
no,
others.
Yeah, there is a line. There is a fine line, and I never try to cross that line. Obviously, I stick to myself, and people approach me.
Like the
which is
whole
completely
idea.
different.
The reason why these First Amendment audits is because they stand like near the building. They're just doing what they are, and then people get pissed off and they approach them.
Yeah.
But the whole issue is if once they leave, then if they had like the common sense to leave and just like, okay, this guy's not gonna, he's just gonna be fucking doing whatever he's doing, and I'm just gonna go back to what I'm doing. If he continues to follow you and you say, hey, leave me alone, and then he just keeps following you, then that's where it becomes a crime.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah,
doing
you
peace,
could
and then
say
it's just harassment.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, fair enough.
But the whole idea is they're not a problem for me, then they're not a problem.
Also, it's a little shady that you're not telling people they're alive, but I don't think it matters all that much.
Well, again,
this one's not
that
live,
one's not
yeah.
live, obviously,
But anyways, I respect you for being like really chill, and I also respectfully disagree with you.
No, I don't expect you guys to believe me, and I don't expect to convince you guys in 5
That's live in the...
Yeah, it's not live.
I just tripped.
Yeah, you can read the comments.
Say
too.
hi to like the 45 viewers.
I can really
How many subscribers do you have?
I'm sorry?
How many subscribers do you
My account has been stuck at 2K subs for like over a year now.
Dude, that sucks.
Yeah. No, it was growing at first. I was getting like 10 subs a week. Now I lose subs. It's crazy. And ever since I started talking about the push of the Earth, which was against the mainstream flat Earth. So ever since I started
did you start talking about the flat Earth?
Yeah, I would talk about flat Earth at first. And the number one proof that I would use was water, the physics of water. But the push of the Earth I came across, because I came across this in 2016. I didn't come across to the push of the Earth, gravity, the real gravity, until like 2 years ago. 2-3 years. That's how censored it is. And ever since I started talking about that, boom, I'm being attacked. I'm being censored even more. Like, it's crazy. Crazy. I'm the only one, by the way, doing this and representing these facts. Out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flat Earth channels, I'm the only one.
Okay.
I should really get going.
Yeah, honestly, we gotta get going.
A good conversation.
Yeah.
You guys take care. Again, it was a really good conversation. Appreciate it, man.
I'm not gonna shake your hand. Like, respectfully.
No worries, man. All right, take care.
I just ate lunch, so my hands are hella greasy.
All right, no worries, man. Take care. All right. All right, that's gonna be it. I'm gonna start packing up because, yeah, it's already over 2 hours, and I only put what time is it? Oh shit, yeah, it's 2:12. My parking is only till like 2:30, so I'm gonna start packing up because, you know, I gotta walk back and everything too. But, no, yeah. That last conversation was really good. He was very animated for sure. The young gentleman here, and believe it or not, I enjoyed it. Like he showed that he actually cared about the subject. You know, by how animated he got emotional, but in a good way. Not like obviously mad, right? Like very negative, and he was nowhere near that. But the energy he had, you know, was really good. Like I really liked that energy of going back and forth, and him trying to find flaws in what I'm presenting, you know, and stuff like that. You know, that's, you know, what more can I ask for, you know? You know, I want to have this conversation with people that actually care about what's going on, you know, about people that actually care about the shape of the Earth, for example, about this reality, in other words. So at the end of the day, it was a really good conversation. I'm glad that his friend was able to like educate him at least about, you know, recording in public. I mean, this is the #1 public school in the nation. So obviously you're allowed to record in here, especially for all the people that come here to take a picture with the statue here, with the Bruin statue, and just take a picture and video of the campus. You know, obviously you're allowed to do that. So obviously me sitting here with the table, a discussion table, and recording my conversations shouldn't be an issue, and it's not, you know. Again, recording in public is a right. You know, it's not a privilege at the end of the day. So we have the right to record our conversations. Now, if somebody doesn't want to have a conversation on camera, then they simply just don't approach the camera. If you don't want to have a conversation on camera, then you just don't approach the camera. It's that simple. You know, obviously my cameras are being displayed, you know, obviously for people to see. And again, if you don't want to be on camera, then you just don't approach the camera guy. That's simple, you know. But yeah, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it was really good, especially for the first time here, and especially during summer, you know. It was really good. So for sure, I'm gonna be coming here more often, even though it is further away than other universities. You know, it was a little bit over an hour to get here, but in my opinion, it was worth it. You know, it is worth it. There's a lot of foot traffic here, and yeah. Damn, someone else is approaching the table. I'm gonna try to keep it short. But we'll see. What's up, man? All right, so you guys want to give this a shot? I'll try to do it quick because I was already on my way out.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, see if we could do 5-10 minutes real quick. So, let me start with the first one. Oh, they're both here? Oh yeah, they're both here. Okay. So 3 box trucks, and there's a bowling ball inside hanging with a string. So 1 box truck is at rest, 1 is accelerating forward, and 1 is accelerating in reverse. So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
This one? No.
At rest? The one's
At rest.
Wait, this one's accelerating, this one's staying still, and this one's going backwards.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah. So why is this one at rest? How do you know?
When you accelerate,
the ball goes in the opposite direction of where you're accelerating.
Okay,
Inertia.
fair enough. Inertia, exactly.
Yeah.
So inertia will show that this one's accelerating forward,
Yep.
and this one's accelerating in reverse, and this one's not moving.
Yeah,
It's at rest. Okay, perfect, pretty easy.
yeah.
So the second one is pretty similar, but instead of a bowling ball, it's a helium balloon inside.
Okay.
So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
Still the middle one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's for the same reason as the first
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
not moving. Which one's accelerating forward?
I feel like
It's like the air would,
This
in the
one.
car would also.
Okay.
I feel like
Which one do you think?
Oh, is it C?
I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because the air.
I think it's still the same.
Wouldn't
I
it
think it's
stay-
still A.
No, it's cool. You could guess if you
wouldn't
don't
it stay wouldn't it stay like middle ground though? Because like the helium's propelling it.
Helium
up.
would go up. That
Yeah,
doesn't-
exactly. But wouldn't it would that make it like stay up?
I think it's the same thing. I think it's A.
It's actually C.
Ooh, interesting.
So again,
I think
because
the air in the-
yes, because the air is more dense than the helium. When you accelerate in that direction, the air is also being pushed in that same direction, and because the air is more dense, is able to push the helium balloon in the same direction the air is moving. Does that make sense? So now I can demonstrate that here, for example. So I have a buoyant object inside of water, so the water is more dense. So if I accelerate in that direction, what direction do you think the ball is going to go?
Forward.
Yes, it goes in the direction of the force. So that's what buoyancy would be. It's when the medium that surrounds it is able to push the object that's less dense. Exactly. So here, let me show you this real quick. I did this example experiment actually in a cargo van, and I want to see if you guys can tell what direction I accelerated. So there's a helium balloon tied to a string and an apple hanging from the string. So which direction they accelerate? To the right or to the left?
To the right. To the right.
Yes, exactly. Because matter reacts to acceleration, when it's at rest. Not only does it show you when I apply the force, it shows you the direction I applied the force as well. And again, I did it with different states of matter. So I did it with a water-filled container, with a ping pong ball, and a steel ball. In this scenario, what direction did I accelerate?
Left.
Yes, left, because that's the direction the buoyant object got pushed. Exactly. Pretty easy, right? So one more, and then I'll get to the main point. So right here, I was holding a water container again with a ping pong ball and a steel ball. I was holding it like this, but I only accelerated one of them down. Which one would you say I accelerated? The one on the left or the one on the right?
Accelerated downward?
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Because that one shows the reaction. There was a change, and you can clearly see it. So let me ask you guys this. If I was holding it, and I didn't accelerate it down, but just simply released it into free fall, do you guys believe gravity pulled it down?
Yes.
Yeah, right? So you guys believe gravity accelerates
Yeah.
this down in free fall?
Yes.
You're right, perfect. So the one on the left was actually free fall, but we see that there is no change. There is no reaction to that acceleration in free fall. So everything
The
stays.
bottle's full, right?
Yeah, this one's in free fall.
But if they're all under the
wasn't
same
full, it would
force,
still
no?
accelerate
Yeah,
up.
they're all under the same force.
Okay,
right?
okay, yeah.
Okay,
Because
so
gravity's equally pushing.
Yeah.
okay, that's what they tell us. But here's the thing: I don't know if you guys knew, gravity is just the theory. So the pulling force of gravity has never been physically measured.
Okay.
So objects accelerating down in free fall has never been proven. So what's actually happening is actually pretty easy. So if we understand helium always follows the direction of the force, if I have a helium balloon here on Earth, for example, and I just released it, what direction does it go?
Up.
Why do you guys think it goes up?
Because it's less dense.
It's buoyant in
less
air.
than
Yeah.
Less
air.
dense than air,
Yeah.
so the air is able to push it up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we understand matter cannot move itself, right? And air cannot move itself. So what's pushing up the air to be able to push up the helium? Because in this scenario, it was a truck that pushed the air to be able to push the
so
helium.
gravity is like.
So what's
it?
pushing up the air to be able to push up the helium? You think gravity?
What else?
Gravity-
What else pushes it?
No, gravity
Wind?
pulls.
Like,
Yes, gravity pulls.
Gravity-
Yeah,
exactly.
gravity pulls it, but like, what else pushes it?
Aliens.
So here's the thing, because gravity is just a theory, obviously a downward acceleration or a force in free fall has never been measured. The force of the earth is not a pull, it's a push.
Thank you.
So
That's
the
what I just
ground is actually pushing up against you right now, it's not pulling you down. And that same pressure of the earth pushing up on you is what's creating the air pressure here on earth, and that's how the air is able to push up the helium, because it's being pushed by the ground. So here's the main point why I'm doing this. You guys believe the earth is a ball, right?
Yeah.
So you guys understand that on a ball, up is relative, right? So if you're
Yeah.
standing here, up is in this direction, but if you're standing down here, up is in the opposite
Yes.
direction. So every direction away from the center will be
Is
up
up.
on a ball.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we could prove that the ground is physically pushing up, in other words, moving up to be able to create buoyancy, how can the earth move up at the same time in every direction if it was a ball?
Expand. Yeah.
Yes, it will expand, which wouldn't work. It would just explode.
Okay.
So in order for people to believe in the ball earth theory, they first have to believe in the theory of gravity being a pulling force. Because if we could prove that it's the other way around, that it's actually pushing up, the ball earth wouldn't work. So it would debunk the globe earth. So that would be the number one proof to debunk the ball earth theory.
Okay.
The fact that gravity is not a pull is a push. And buoyancy shows us that. So if I was to ask you guys respectfully, what's the number one proof that makes you guys believe the earth is a ball? Or why do you guys believe that?
Images from outer space.
Images from outer
Yeah.
space. So that's the reason why I have these here. Here, I can show you them. So where are they? Here they are. So these images, they're official NASA images, and they call them images, not photographs, because this one's from 2012 and this one's from 2002 and 2012. But they admit that all the images they take from outer space are computer generated.
Yeah.
So they're CGI. So everything that they're showing us from outer space is basically a cartoon. So there's no real photograph of the Earth from space as a ball.
There's
it
no
doesn't
imagery
exist.
at all.
Nope, doesn't exist. So why do you guys think that is?
So it's flat.
Yeah, it's not flat because otherwise you go off.
No,
the-
no, but here's
Yeah,
the thing.
obviously.
So let me tell you this. So you guys heard of flat Earth, obviously,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So over 95% of flat Earthers online, and basically the mainstream flat Earth, I would call it, they all claim the Earth is motionless. So they completely deny that the Earth exerts a pulling or a pushing force. But they believe that when you release an object into free fall, that there's something magical that pulls this down, just like the globe Earth. So they're no different in the globe Earth. The whole flat Earth versus globe Earth debate, it's a false dichotomy. It's a false debate, in other words. So they're both wrong. The fact is the Earth is pushing up, and that's what debunks both of those models.
So if Earth is pushing up,
Yes.
what causes the bottle to fall?
Well, it's being left behind now due to inertia. So the Earth crashes into the bottom.
Okay.
So this doesn't move down. It appears to move down. That's because everything's moving up.
Okay, but if there's evidence
Yes.
of Earth pushing up, that means it's expanding. But is
Well,
there any evidence that it's
Well, the
expanding?
Earth is not a globe. It wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. The Earth would just explode. So that the Earth is actually a level plane like this, and we're all standing on it, and it's just pushing up in one direction. So everybody's up is the same.
So you don't believe in this like scenario, does the Earth revolve around the sun?
No,
still?
the heliocentric model is all bullshit.
Okay.
It's all part. It's just there to feed the globe. You know, so everything about outer space, you know, it's all made up. It's all CGI too. If you look at outer space videos, everything they show us, like when they find an Earth-like planet 27 light years away, all that bullshit, it's all bullshit. It's just stories. It's just stories to back up the belief in the globe Earth. Because natural physics here on Earth will show us that gravity is not a pull, and it's a push, and the globe Earth requires that belief. And that's why people have to believe in the objects accelerate down in free fall, because that's the only way they can believe in a globe Earth. And now flat earthers are claiming the exact same thing because they're motionless flat earthers. That's the psyop. The fact is the Earth is pushing up, and that's why it's level, because it's level is an orientation, which is perpendicular to the vertical, which is the force of the Earth.
So
But it's not
therefore, buoyancy proves
Wait,
that the
wait.
ground is pushing up.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So you don't believe that these two images you showed us are correct because they're CGI?
Well, they admit it.
And and we're supposed to believe that that object was in free fall that you showed us.
Well, you could do the experiment yourself. That's the
Okay.
beauty of it.
So we could
Yeah.
see if we went home.
Yeah, you could.
The
you could-
image would look like almost the same.
What are you saying? I mean,
So you showed us the experiment where
Yeah.
you dropped the
Yes.
thing in free fall.
Yes.
Without applying any like additional
Yes.
force.
Yes.
And it shows that it's stationary. So
Well,
if we-
it doesn't stay floating. It
Oh,
appears
no,
to go
but
down.
like,
but
relative to
the matters. Yeah, the
Okay.
matter inside of it just stays stationary relative to the bottle. Yeah. When they shouldn't. They should react. They should be a change if there was acceleration.
Okay.
Because acceleration creates pressure, and pressure creates buoyancy. So if they're claiming acceleration in free fall without any pressure, that's why gravity is a theory, because that has never been measured. So, real quick, this is the number one proof, but a lot of people, it's not enough. I'll give you one more proof just before you guys go. You guys know the radius of the Earth, they tell us? So the radius of the Earth, they tell us, is 3,959 miles. Yeah, so based on the radius, we can calculate how much curvature there should be every mile. So it actually comes out to 8 inches per mile squared. What that means is that in the first mile, there should be an 8-inch drop. By the second mile, there should be 32 inches. And by the third mile, there should be 6 feet of curvature. In 10 miles, there should be 66 feet. But that's just, further out you go. So how do we measure for that curve, right? There's a very easy way to do it. So if we went out to a giant lake that was miles across, obviously filled with water, and once the water's at rest, if we build a level structure over the body of water, that lake is going to show that it's going to be parallel to the level structure, because that's how water behaves when it's contained and at rest. The surface always collapses and forms an equal surface. That's where we get the term water level, and level meaning horizontal. But they're trying to tell us that water level means curve, because they're saying that 8 inches per mile square, there should be 6-foot drop in 3 miles across. So we should be able to physically measure that curvature like this. But this experiment not only has it never been done like this, a direct measurement of the Earth, but it will show that there is no curvature, because this is real physics, how water behaves. But they're trying to tell us that water behaves like this. So again, the physics of water when contained and at rest will show that there is no curvature of the Earth. So this will be the number 2 proof that debunks it. Again, physics.
So like if you're to like fly in like a straight line,
Yeah.
would you where would you go like after?
So if you go in a perfectly straight line, eventually you'll just go south. In any, like let's say we have a ball, or let's say because the north on a ball is right here, it's a center point. But on a level Earth, it would just be it would be a center point as well. But if you just go in a straight line in any direction, you eventually start going south, and then, in my opinion, you'll probably reach the end of the Earth. Like there is some kind of containing the air pressure here on Earth, a physical barrier that, in my opinion, the governments probably have found, and they're just keeping that from us. So that's when they lie to us about what this place is. They tell us that, you just come back around the other way, but in reality, you'll reach the end of the Earth.
So then the North and South poles, like, where would they be located?
So the North Pole and on a level Earth will just be a center point. So if let's say this was the North, right, and you have a compass that points north all the time, if you go east or west, you're gonna have to readjust every time to go east. Yes, to stay east relative to the north. You'll basically just make a circle around the north and come back to the same spot. So east and west circumnavigation can be done on both, but circumnavigation going south and coming back around the other way has never been done. That has never been done. Because in my opinion, you just reach the end of it. You won't come back around.
The heliocentric model has been forced loose?
Yeah, so it's just a religion. So our religions, in my opinion, are there to control people, their perceptions about what this place actually is. So the globe Earth, the heliocentric model is no different. They're giving people a false perception about what the reality is to then be able to get their trust and be able to control people. And so not only that, NASA gets over $70 million a day, which is over $20 billion a year, just to show us cartoon images, which could be done $100, less than $100, to make these images. But they're taking in $70 million a day, over $70 million.
So where do you think Earth sits relative to the solar system?
So the whole solar system, the time is heliocentric, right? That the Earth revolves around the sun. And the reality is.
And wait, 1 second. You said religion, right? Wasn't like a scientist that like debunked the non-heliocentric model? Like Copernicus. Yeah, Copernicus. Wasn't he like stoned?
maybe because he was going against the narrative that they were pushing.
So how does that prove that religion like supports the heliocentric? Didn't they?
Well, obviously they use force.
It is a religion.
Yeah, the whole heliocentric model is a religion because all religions, not only are they based on faith, but all religions also tell you how this place was created. The heliocentric model tells you how this place was created through evolution and the Big Bang. The fact is, nobody knows how this place came to be. That the fact is that it did come from something. So I do accept that there is like some kind of higher power that created this place, or people will call it God, but I don't claim to know what that is. So that's where religions come in to try to fill in that gap, but nobody knows exactly how this place came to be. Again, the heliocentric model just tells you that it was evolution.
So it's like trying to capture an understanding of the unknown, sort of?
In a way, yeah, that's the unknown, and I don't think any of us will ever be able to comprehend that.
So the sun relative to like the flat Earth, like how the sun like.
He's saying it's geocentric, meaning the sun revolves around the Earth.
Well, it doesn't revolve, in my opinion, like that. It revolves over it like that. Yeah. And the sun's very tiny compared to the Earth. It's not the. They tell us it's the other way around.
What about when the sun?
Yeah, like an elliptical shape.
What about when the sun disappears?
It just goes out of perspective. So we do have a limit to how far we can see. So the angular resolution to our eye has a limit.
So you think the light also stops traveling?
Well, the horizon obstructs it at one point because there's mountains eventually that eventually are gonna get in the way when something goes further away. So. So you guys can take my channel. I go to UCR, I go to USC, and I go to UC Irvine as well. And I have this conversation all the time. You guys can take it and
really? Okay.
Yeah, you guys can take it and maybe scan it after and be able to see yourselves in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the chat. You guys take care. All right, that's gonna be it. All right, I'm gonna start putting some of this away because my parking expired already for sure. So I gotta get the fudge out of here. So I'm not even gonna arrange these. I'll arrange them at home because I got it late already. Damn, I'm not gonna lie. These students, this last conversation I just had right now, like were on it. Like they understood it. Like, I would say when it comes to like comprehending the subject and comprehending the claims, I would say not even today, just overall, they're probably one of the groups that understand this more than anyone else that I've talked to, in my opinion. Like they're up there for sure, So yeah, it was good to, a good thing I stood a little bit longer, when they came. Good thing they caught me before I left, I guess, right? In other words, so that was really good. So let me just. Damn, I'm like all lost right now. I don't even know what to do. Like, okay, I gotta put this away. Yeah, I gotta be quick. I don't want to get a ticket. Oh no! Damn! I should have put it away. Oh no, it's right here. For a second, I thought they stole my earphones because I thought I put them on the table, and they weren't here. but somehow they ended up on the floor. You know, for a second I thought that maybe one of the students, when they came up on the table and everything, maybe they took them, but luckily they didn't. Oh shit, I was already gonna take them as a loss. Alrighty. Damn. Yeah, for being the first time here at UCLA, I definitely had some of the best interactions that I've had in a while. So that's really good, you know, especially the fact that it's still summer here, summer classes. So I can only expect there to be way more students during like regular classes, like during fall, for example. So yeah, definitely something to look forward to for sure, you know. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna, you know, make the time to come out here a little bit more often. And yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. So again, thanks everyone that joins the stream, that watches the videos, that shares them, that likes them. I really do appreciate the support. Again, we know how censored this topic is. We know how censored my channel is. And obviously it's not gonna get recommended in the algorithms like that, but you know, you guys sharing them directly with friends and peers and acquaintances and stuff really does help get the word out, especially if you're not, you know, going out and speaking yourself. You know, sharing my videos really does help at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, it's all about reaching new people. So yeah, thanks again to everyone that does share my videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.